So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube. I use spirits and my intuition to communicate energies to you guys, fabulous viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. I'm so glad you guys found me. For those of you guys returning, I'm so blessed to be here. So grateful that you're here, and I can't wait to get into all of your readings. You guys are all very, very safe and welcome in this space with me today. I will get into what today's reading is about shortly. Okay, but these are the decks I'll be using, and there's quite a bit calling out for this type of a reading. So this might be a little bit of a heavier reading. So if you're not prepared for this type of a reading right now, then come back to it, It's definitely not going to be for everyone at all times. So, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, I do these types of readings in order for us to peer behind the veil and really just challenge our own beliefs and our own narratives so that we can move outside of our comfort zone and progress and spiritually ascend and physically make changes in our world that are aligned with our highest and greatest good. Okay, not out of alignment, but in alignment with our authentic self, which brings us more peace, happiness, joy. Okay, that's my ultimate purpose. And so when we're out of alignment and we got to get back into alignment, it hurts, it really does. So these are the decks, like I said. I'll also be using the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot for the tarot portion, but these are the oracles, and this will be a pick a card reading. Okay, so if you guys do listen to my readings, thank you so much. Please do the honor of listening to the disclaimer for a lot of the readings, because the disclaimer is a very important part of this, okay? And if you don't listen to the disclaimer and do whatever you want, go ahead, but then if whatever happens, that's definitely solely on you, okay? And why I'm saying this is because tarot readings, like I always say, are a reflection of your state of consciousness, okay? So for this reading specifically, I'm going to be looking at what is your unconscious wounding, okay, in the subconscious. There might be trauma, there might be program, there might be fragmented inner child energy. Okay, what is your wounding within you telling you, trying to tell you, trying to show you? Okay, and how is that manifesting or creating a conflict in your right here, right now world, or something maybe that you're not seeing at this blind spot oracle? Okay, in regards to something that might be trapped. Now, we are not perfect beings, of course. Okay, there is no perfect state. Even reaching a state of enlightenment is just some fairy tale thing. Okay, but we can be in states of enlightenment. We can definitely be in states of enlightenment. And that's out there for everyone. Not Buddhas, not Jesus Christ, and everyone. You can be in states of enlightenment right here, right now. It's very easy. In fact, you're already there. You're just not seeing it. Okay, so if you're in suffering, if you're feeling any which way except for enlightened, then you are still have some energy within you that is keeping you away from a state of peace and bliss. Okay, now why do I want to be enlightened? I don't want to be a Buddha. Then that means you have a narrative right now. Then enlightenment means Buddha. Enlightenment means some hoity-toity. No. Okay, in fact, you could definitely have your same personality. Okay, so as you see, there's only one personality here, and that's mine. So, and I'm very peaceful for the most part, but it doesn't mean you don't have a toot. Okay, whatever the toot is, it's your fingerprint of who you are, but it can't come out unless you absolutely connect to your authentic self. Okay, and so it is removing what you're not at the end of the day, and so there is nothing we're doing. There is just the peeling of the false self, the seeing through the veil, the understanding of self. The hermit's work is really just the understanding of one's self and how one is currently and what's out of alignment, what is in misalignment within you. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like oil and vinegar. It's not a part of who you are. And it is within your nature, everyone's nature, to course correct. Because when we make mistakes, or we're out of alignment, or something doesn't feel authentic, it's our nature to course correct and go back into alignment. Okay, we will go back into alignment. We'll do whatever it sort of takes to naturally go back into alignment. We don't have to do it, it just happens. And this is why when we're in this process, we just spot what's out of alignment within us. But if we're so distracted, tarot after tarot, we're outwardly projecting, looking, seeking for answers. I'm going to hear what I need to hear, or finally see what I need to see, or become what I need to become. Once I see it, once I know it, once I read it, once I understand it, you're never going to reach there. You're outwardly, and it's not out there. I assure you, everything is your internal world. Everything that you're seeing out there is your internal world. And so it's going to continuously reflect back to you that. And so once you switch it up and only deal with the inner world, okay, now there is no inner and outer. When you get to the point of enlightenment, you know, and this is something you can try right now to just gauge where you're at. When you close your eyes and I say, go in your internal world. Okay, you could do that right now. And then I say, open your eyes and observe the external world. The birds, the trees, maybe you're walking, maybe you're in your room, you're looking around to your left, to your right, maybe your pets, maybe you're at your workplace. Okay, take a look at your environment, and I'll close your eyes, and then I say, okay, go into your internal world. Now, if you have a sense of duality, you'll feel sort of like this wall, or this like resistance. I don't know what you feel. I don't want to plant anything. You'll feel where one side is your internal and one side is your external. Okay? When you undo what does not need to be there, it's a figment of the mind. Whatever that thing is. When you close your eyes, when you open your eyes, it's all one world. Okay? It's all one. Consciousness is all one. And so you're an embodied experience. Okay, there's no other way for me to explain it other than to say it in that way. This is something that's inner felt. And so what does that mean? It means your consciousness of whatever vibration you're holding is going to be lived through you. Okay, and so if inside of us we have certain things that haven't been looked at, okay, it creates an energy, its own energy signature. Okay, and so this is why we could feel through when we're doing shadow work. You can actually feel energy. There's no other way to use it, okay? You can't tangibly feel it, but you feel it inside. Something might feel rough or stuck or clogged or fluid or stringy, or like there's different feels to energy, okay? And I'm not saying this because I'm an energy reader here and I'm the only one that can read energy. You can read energy. Anyone can. That's why we say, I have a knot in my stomach, or I have a feeling something goes bad, or all of a sudden have this, that's the feeling, okay? But it's our nature to sort of distract right away, and go on my phone. I don't want to feel that. Oh, that's that grief coming up. I'll just, fight it, because emotions equal bad or weak, or emotions equal negative. I don't want to cry. I don't want to be angry. I want to be enlightened, or I want to be better. No, your feelings, everything that's happening to you right here, right now, you're going to meet yourself where you're at. It's all spiritual. Okay. And so those feelings, everything, whether they're good feelings or you think they're bad feelings, they all have to be felt through in order for you to reach a state of alignment. Okay. And so the cries, the anger, the shame, the guilt, the resentment, the whatever's going on, the stuff we don't even see. Okay, to the depths of it, we might think, yeah, I'm sad about this thing, but I just don't think about it. Or yeah, blah, blah, blah. We have narratives, yeah, I grew up in an abusive family and I'm okay. I haven't cried about it. When I was little, it was hard, and that was my story of like my upbringing. It was just like, it didn't faze me. It didn't faze me, and really it wasn't impacting my life because my life seemed fairly normal. It was just like ongoing and ongoing until I really looked back, and it wasn't that I was harboring all of these secret things that were like really creating destruction, but I was harboring underneath, without knowing, stuff that wasn't processed in my psyche that was driving a lot of my actions every day. Maybe my need to prove to myself that I was capable, or that I could have my own space, or that I wasn't too much, or that I was worthy like everyone else, or that's like having a whole bunch of like I don't know, stuff in the material world, and it mean that that's a reflection of your value, or that you have to work so hard in order to be good, or in order to be appreciated, or in order to make it for yourself, or that everyone is going to have to make it for themselves and then carry this anxiety. All of this stuff we just do, and we think that's who we are. I am driven. I am ambitious. I am unstoppable. I am determined. I am powerful. I am a creator. Those were my narratives. And those sound beautiful. And you think, well, there was nothing wrong with someone who says this type of stuff. And it's like, the issue isn't saying that type of stuff. The issue is ego will either say, I am, and identify with that. And when those things are at risk, or those things don't go the way they should go, that's what creates suffering. That's what creates the schism. That's what creates the anxiety, the depression, the heaviness. And so the ego, whether it is positively saying I am this and I am that, or it's saying I identify as failed, okay, or disappointment, or I can't do this, or I'm incapable of that. Whether they're positive or they're negative, they're both ego-based, and they create narratives in our mind. Okay, and so we're forever on the hamster wheel chasing the next job or the next proving to me, because those material things that we're trying to prove to ourselves, it's never enough for the ego, never ever, okay? Because how many times have we wanted a job, and then we got it, and then we wanted the promotion, then we got it, then we wanted the next department, and then we wanted to go to the more higher paying job, or we got this house and then we upgrade to another one, or we had that relationship and we thought, if only I had that, then I would be truly happy. And then and then you're in that, and then it's just the novelty wears off, and then you're striving for the next and striving for the next. That's because the ego is trying to keep you asleep. Okay. And there is no outside happiness that one day you're going to reach. That's a fallacy. That's always living to attain some sort of thing in the future. And the future, as we know, it can never exist, because we're forever just projecting onto another time and place when I'll be happy. No, if you're happy right here, right now with what is, then you're truly happy. Okay, because it's not that car that you want, or that job, or that person. It's love that you want. It's being appreciated, or feeling worthy. It's the essence behind those forms, and so we have to detach from the form that we're looking for, or that we're engaging with, and we have to say, what is the essence behind here telling me? Am I trying to prove my self-worth? Am I really just wanting love here? And those things are fine. It's our innate nature to want to be loved, to want to be worthy, to want to be appreciated. But we don't have to go seek, chase, and attach to form. Okay, because we are already love. We are already all these things that we think we're missing. Okay, having this sort of a mindset has been planted within us. Scarcity and lack and dualistic thinking, that there is this other side, and I'm not on it, and I got to chase it, or I got to do it. That narrative keeps you on the perpetual state of not feeling whole. Okay, and so this is all about connecting to the essence of who you are. But when we're right here, right now, there's a lot of discomfort when we're new to sitting with our essence, because the essence comes with everything else that's sitting in there. It's kind of like when you have a glass of water and you put sand in there, okay? And the sediment is floating in there. The water is the essence, and the sand is the impurity, if you will, or all the pockets of trauma, okay? And only when that sand sort of settles can you see that water clearly, okay? But unlike the sand that's just in there and has no way to go, but when you see through this impurity, if you will, okay, or these energies, that sand can get transmuted into more water. And that's why when we transmute pain, when we come to realizations of truths, okay, truths, spiritual truths, it's like, whoa, I see it now. Our consciousness always expands. That's because we gain more water. We've transmuted that shadow into light. And now we hold more light and more light and more light. And all of those shadows keep turning into light when we transmute it. Now, certain things we can't transmute right away, but we shed our light on it, and we work within that, with those difficulties. We work with it. We don't bury it. We don't shun it. Okay, and so there's transmutation, there is understanding and working with, there's integrating certain parts, and integrations like, okay, I can embody this, understanding how I am. Okay, and there is no gold state of an ideal of who you have to be. In fact, if you are forcing yourself in a situation because you think the right thing to do would be for me to sit here and be okay with this, or put up with this, or be more patient with this thing. It's like, yes, patience is great, but the more spiritual thing to do is meet yourself where you're at. No, I'm not patient right now. No, I'm not those things, I can't. I'm angry right now. I'm upset right now. And that's not saying anger and upsetness is good. And so we say, well, we have these ego because we're human. Let's just be upset. Let's just be not patient. No, that's saying that's where you're at. You're impatient. We need to work on this thing. Okay, now what's work? Work is I need to see my impatience. Okay, I'm angry. I'm bitter. I get embarrassed. I leave comments and then I delete them because I have an issue. Okay, that's on you. Now, why do we do this? There's something going on within us that we need to see. Okay, and once we see it, we accept what it is. We don't make excuses for it. We don't also say, well, that's just me. Okay, well, it is how you're engaged and behaving. And so this is the thing, and this is the difficulty. Are we strong enough to say, I see my impatience, and I know that to be a patient person would put me at ease? How do I deal with my impatience? How do I deal with my impatience? And God says, you don't need to know how. All you need to do is see your impatience. Every time your impatience comes up, you observe it. And you don't try to force it to be more patient. You don't scold it for being impatient. You don't judge it for being impatient. You see your impatience. Keep seeing your impatience. Okay, whatever this trait is. And when you see it, you will naturally drop the impatience and it will turn into patience. Okay, but you must see yourself where you're at. You can't just ignore the fact that you're impatient and then try to be a patient person. Or you're not loving, so you try to be loving, and you're really underneath, like, are you irritated? Or is nails on chalkboard? It's like, no, meet yourself where you're at. All of it. Okay, and so that's the greatest gift you can do. You're accepting all of yourself. The good, the bad, the ugly, the enlightened, and the devil. Whatever you are is exactly what we're going to meet you where you're at. Okay, so this reading, beautiful people, is going to be looking at what's going on beneath the surface and those woundings. Okay, so this is why it could be very triggering here. Now, I do want to make it very clear that this reading, I am reading energy and cards, and I tap into whatever frequency channel. That frequency channel comes with a whole timeline. Okay, so if someone says, well, you mentioned this, that, and that, yeah, it comes with the timeline. Everything that comes there, it's not like a vending machine and I'm just like poking one little thing. And sometimes you put something and everything sort of comes with that thing. Okay, I don't have a Rolodex or a catalog that I'm choosing here. There's no choice here. Okay, so all of that, unless you directly have a channel and you know how to channel, if you have issue, then this isn't for you. You don't understand what channeling is, okay? Channeling is I'm reflecting back to you a state of consciousness and a free energy frequency and everything that comes with that. It's just energy. I can't tell if it's a person or a situation, circumstance, because energy doesn't have a little name on top of it, like a video game, like The Sims. I don't know if it's a person or like 10 energies that belong to you, or one's you and 10 people, or one's you and it's like different situations. I don't know. That's up to you. And that's why you need to be in tune. The feel of the energy. It's like, oh yeah, that was this and that was that. And that's part of me. And this is how I am there. It's like, okay, good. You know yourself with these energies, but we can't lie to self, and we got to be aware. That's it. Okay, I can't do that. And because there's so many people here, for you, one aspect is you, and for someone else, it's another person in their life. So I can't say it's another person. And you're like, no, that's me. It's not my reading because she said it was another person. No, stop it. Ugh, it annoys me. And why it annoys me is because then you shouldn't be watching tarot. You're confusing yourself. Okay, so beautiful people, let's get back to peace. And my impatience is coming out. So, gorgeous angels, these are the decks. We'll get into your reading. This will be a pick a pile, and I'll put the timestamps below, and you could bounce around wherever you need to go And definitely, if you're called to multiple piles, then that's fine. Okay. And I could definitely be tapping into people around you. It doesn't have to be your energy. If it's not your energy and you don't want to hear it, don't listen to it. Okay. And if you don't understand it, this is a big one. I don't understand. Then it's not your level of consciousness. It's not your timeline. And so then why are you telling me? It's like me saying, I shot myself in the foot, and I'm telling you about it. And you're like, okay, you shot yourself in the foot. It's not your reading. It has nothing to do with me. The channel stands as it is. Don't understand it? Not your level of consciousness. Go expand more. That's all I can say. Okay? So I'll see you guys at your pick. Hello, gorgeous angels. Here are 3 options for today's reading. Option number 1, we have the clear quartz. Option number 2, we have the amethyst. Option number 3, we have the glass paperweight bubble, trap bubble paperweight. Okie dokie. So, beautiful angels. Take as long as you need. If you're pulled to multiple, it's fine. Go at your own pace. Get your water, get your tea, and grab your friends, grab your wife. I'm just kidding. Get whatever you need. Okay, get cozy. And if it's too heavy, then just come back later if you want. Okay, and if it doesn't make sense, come back at a later date when it does make sense for you. Okay, so the timestamps will be below, and I will see you guys at your pick. Pile 1, you guys picked the clear quartz and have free shuffled oracle cards. I've not looked at them, but my question was very simple to the divine. We're asking the divine, in regards to your subconscious wounding, what exactly is it trying to tell you? So we're gaining better insight as to what's going on within you, okay? So there is no inner outer world. There's just one state of consciousness and you're in it, okay? But we're looking at anything that's going on here that needs to be sort of seen through so that you have freedom and liberation, okay? Freedom of what? Suffering, duality, scarcity, lack, all of the stuff that's been programmed within you that you don't need to carry that's untrue, okay? So you can skip ahead if you want, but this part is really intended to develop your intuition, okay? And so I am including this card layout as a way to develop the intuition so that you don't go to the wrong pile thinking it's your pile, okay? So let's see. This pile was really heavily tied to dreams, okay? Like very heavy. So maybe you're getting a lot. Take that as a sign, okay? Maybe the way you've been navigating your spiritual journey has been really through the dream space, or you might have some sort of understanding about your dreams. Maybe you lucid dream, or you get downloads in your dreams, or the way you channel is very dreamlike, something about dreams here, okay? So we have 2 with roots. Okay, and then we also have 4 with fighting. Okay. 2 and 4. We also have this little scribble and it says startle. I'm already picking up an energy here of abuse. Okay? Like in the family home here. Now, if it's not in this lifetime, it could be in a past lifetime. And I pulled some past life cards here to see. Okay, when we're vulnerable. And so I say abuse only because if there's a lot of danger going on in front of a child who cannot speak up or do something. They feel vulnerable. Okay, now their inner system is shocked here. So, but this is fighting. So it doesn't have to be hitting so much, but this could come from a family of aggression, fighting, arguments, abuse. And as a child, okay, we feel our nervous system is like, doesn't feel protected here, okay? This is exactly what I feel here. And so maybe emotions are all too familiar for you, you know? It's like these volatile emotions, and especially with these rubber boots here, to navigate some form of emotion. Okay, change with the air balloon and this horsey. And then the clouds. And we have Archangel Raphael with number 19. 19 is sun energy. That's enlightenment. And this is ascension. Interesting. Love, healing, and miracles. Beautiful. And we have ships. Okay, so ship talks about movement and travel. This is in my past life deck cards. So that's interesting. And this horn or whatever, I don't know what the boat's thing is called. It's like, it's looking like this thing that he's hanging on to. Helm, the boat's helm. I don't know if that's what it's called. Hanging on to it for dear life. And so, you know, a boat, well, we steer the boat with the wheel. But if he's like at the helm hanging on, it's almost like the boat, someone else or something is navigating the boat, and we're like at the front trying to navigate it, but we have no control over here. Okay, so we might fear like losing control, or like our control has always been out of our hands in some way, you know. This is why maybe we need control, or we feel more safe when we know where things are going. And we're trying to guide ourselves, and we might feel like out of control when we don't know where it's going, or we feel we can't control it. That's the rubber boots and all this water. So maybe we feel when emotions come up or something, it's like, oh God, you know, out of control. If I can't control this thing, I just cling on for dear life wherever it goes. Okay. And then we have magical tools with 253. Gifts, either physical and or mental form from the universe that will help guide you. That's this love, healing, and miracles. I think you are a magical gift. Okay. I think all of whatever's happened here is to give you this beautiful magical gift. I'm getting magician energy, Gemini and Virgo energy with these magical tools on the table here. It's also the number 10, okay? And 10 is also sun energy, which really, like I said, and automatically I was drawn to this. Your magical tool, love, healing, miracles to the collective, to draw change here, okay? The state of enlightenment, this shift, this transformation. Okay, and then we have rejection. It says, through the sting of being left out, we discover our own inner worth, denial, dismissal, and exclusion. All right, and then we have Lagwis. That's the rune of Lagwis. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but flow, water, sea. Remember saying water, sea, the rubber boots. Okay, a fertility source, the healing power of renewal, life energy and organic growth, imagination and psychic matters. Wow. Lagwis, I don't know how to say it. Then we have card number 8 with secrets. And this is the sign of Venus in Scorpio. I just heard mystical secrets. Wow. Scorpio is the underworld of Pluto. Okay. And Venus is the planet of love. I'm feeling lover's energy. Like I always say, it's like the devil and the lovers. Okay, and so it's two polar extremes. It's duality. It's like the devil and God, the light and dark, the shadow planet and the light planet. Okay, 8 is a number of movement, which is the ship, change, attainment. Mm-hmm. 8 is Leo and Aquarius energy. Okay, and then we have the shapeshifter, 73. or another 10 here. So lots of 10s, ends. Okay, 10th house is all about career, long-term goals, structure, status, reputation, public image, masculinity, men, fathers, experts, fame. So I did feel a sense of sort of your purpose, which comes with that fame, okay, but the masculine part of that, a need for a form of a control or structure or safety. Because when things are all watery, okay, like emotions are all sort of turbulent here. It's like I need to feel safe. And so the shapeshifter's like having to shapeshift in order to be okay with the nervous system here. Okay, and then we have hysteria, 56 and 2. Mental tendency, stress level. It says excessive emotions, exactly. Okay, simulation. I thought that definitely said stimulation. I'm reading a stimulation, but yeah, simulation, delusion, agitation, overexcitement, affective dependence. Type 2, the helper, emotional center between giving and receiving, and we have the root chakra, exactly what it was feeling here. Okay, if everything's hysteria, there's fighting, it's like turbulent seas here. All of a sudden, in our family, is going on. It's like we want safe, security, we have to defend for ourselves, and like, where is this going to take me? We feel threatened. Okay, but why it's happening again is opening up this beautiful purpose. Okay, you have a beautiful, healing, loving energy here. Once we see beyond this and we can change, now we don't change so much as it is, we create the change. We're the magicians of change here by only seeing things differently, rising above certain energies here. Okay. And we have divine knowledge, beautiful, 95 and 5, mystical union, growth level, universal comprehension, intuitive knowledge, empathy, inner wisdom. That's beautiful because it's all this stuff, okay? Love, healing, miracles. It's all of this stuff. Transcending mind, that's this. Feeling of connection, that's opposite of that. Type 5, the observer, thinking center, the interior, between interior and exterior, beautiful. And this is the authentic self-expression with this blue. Okay, so we have Pisces. And so maybe this is the dream state, like I was saying at the beginning, could be water as well, If it's not dreams, it's the water state, that which is fluid, the emotions, or even that which is divine, the spiritual realms, very tied to spiritual realms here with this Pisces energy. Also Libra's coming through, Taurus and Sagittarius energy. Okay, and then we have 42 with truth. That's that 6 I was feeling from this energy, even though it's at 8 here. Truth. And look, he's holding the talking stick. Okay, the Cherokee, talking stick tradition. So what does this mean? In the talking stick, we speak our truth. Our truth, okay, it's not suppressed, it's not dismissed. We're able to communicate and be listened, not dismissed. This even said dismissed, right? Yeah, dismissal. Okay. Yeah. Truth. And look at the clouds here, and we're feeling clouds here as well, to rise above everyone else's confusion and noise, to see our great truth here instead of being pulled to other people's truth about who we are or what we think that we are about ourselves, because that was our upbringing. Okay, surrender your fear of change. And look at the horse. Oh my goodness, this horse is going forward, this horse backwards. And so backwards, or facing the past, doesn't allow for change. Okay, change. And so change can only happen when we face forward and we're ready for what's coming. We're ready. We're in the present moment, but we're ready, When we keep looking at the past, or our nose is pointed to the past, the change can't really happen. And so there's this resistance of the change happening, whether you're wanting it or not. The resistance comes from the internal body that says either I'm ready for it or I'm not ready for it. Okay, either I'm manifesting change or I'm internally somehow resisting the change or the movement because I'm still working through some belief or something. Okay, so it says the universe is reminding you that you are cared for always. Whether you're afraid of change in your job, your health, a relationship, or if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. And that white horse is tying back to this authentic self-expression. Okay? And even that looks like he's holding on to a talking stick, And the talking stick is what directs. The truth is what directs. Your truth is what's going to direct the movement here. Yeah, not anyone else's truth. Yeah, water, sea. Oh my goodness. And fertility. It's like your truth is what's going to be the fertility, the thing that manifests something. It manifests the change, manifests the new, keeps things in flow. It manifests miracles. This is really beautiful. Okay, so we have antelope spirit. Life is speeding up. Wow, another 2 here. So 2 is a master number. Peacemaker, diplomacy, healthy energetic boundaries, and divinely guided relationships with the 2. Okay, but 2s are all about balance, duality, choices, partnership, contrast, and polarity. Antelope spirits, life is speeding up. Okay, and then we have pick me. Number 1, seeks validation by putting others down or highlighting their own uniqueness to gain attention. That's this, I was rejected and now I need to sort of be seen, or have an internal silent thing that wants validation. Okay. Yeah, let me channel this and then we'll pull some tarot. But this messaging is very clear, and I am going to pull my wands. My Winskies. Alrighties. You can skip ahead now. I don't like that it is off center for me. Okay, I'll get my drink. And you can skip ahead. Okay, pile number 1. I love you very much. Okay, I do. Your upbringing, regardless of how you remember it, okay? And I'm not going to implant or project anything in you that you're going to create as a narrative to hang on to. Oh, my childhood was this and therefore I'm that. No, because you are just right here, right now. You don't have anything of the past, okay? But if for whatever reason there's pockets of trauma or anything going on within your energy field, narratives you already believe, it must be seen through. You must see through the illusion. You do. I think some of you guys might have already been seeing through it. Maybe you just need confirmation. Okay, but others of you guys, once you see it, it's like, oh, everything opens up. Okay, but don't attach to this story like you're a victim and that's what happened to you, and therefore you have this reason to have this whole narrative and be on this healing journey and all of this stuff, because that's a narrative within itself. You're already whole and complete. You're not broken. Okay, so childhood. Okay, I don't know if it's this lifetime. I do feel for a lot of you guys it is. Okay, but it could be for some of you guys it's something you're needing to overcome from a past life of challenge. Okay, but it's at a point in time, and I do feel it's like in the youthful ages where you cannot have your own say. And of course, when we're children, we don't have our own say because we make stupid choices, right? Obviously. But yeah, I think your upbringing here was totally turbulent in a way here where you didn't feel safe. And this could be very volatile. Okay, this is fighting. So I don't know if there's physical abuse, if your parents were physically abusive to each other, to you, okay, or just arguing, because there was a lot of turbulency is what I feel here, you know. And maybe it was like overly emotional parents, like someone who's very angry. I'm saying parent, okay, but take the energy because I don't know who it belongs to, but it was there. It's present here. Arguing, highs and lows, tears, punching holes in walls, outbursts, whatever it is. Your little nervous system is startled here. Okay, now this doesn't mean that this parent or caregiver was trying to threaten you, unless, of course, they were, because everyone has a different story here. Okay, it just means that your internal system here, where it needs to be protected from this stuff, is very innocent and it's very raw and it's very exposed. And so anything could leave an imprint at the wrong time. It could be one incident when we were 2 that we forgot about. The one time, you know, the time where my parents broke up, that one day. It was always peaceful after, or it was peaceful before. I don't really remember, but that one day, you know, or something went flying and then someone was crying and then there was arguing, or they had the big fight, the day of the big fight, or the day of the divorce, or the day of the breakup, or the day my mom found the dead rat in the basement. Whatever traumatized you, and it could be the smallest thing, but as a child, it's the traumatic day or the upbringing. Okay, and I feel like you were being obviously under the control of your parent, okay, which is natural and normal. But if that parent is turbulent, or if that circumstance feels unsafe or unregulated or unhinged in any capacity, it's like you're just going with that in which feels unsafe. And I feel like you felt unsafe. I really do here, okay? And I feel like you felt like what you needed in that moment was secondary. I need to be heard right now that I'm scared, or that I don't feel the same way, or that I want to know what's going on, but everything is so much more important, because it's like a child here where they see, let's say, a flood. And this is coming to me, okay, only because you see the water here and this water here. I'm going to share this story. Well, I had a really little house growing up all of my life till I was 18, until I married. And it was the tiniest little house, okay? There's so many stories about it, but it had like a cellar type basement, which had a little hatch, a hole in the floor. And it was really scary down there because it was like the walls were kind of crumbly, and it was just really scary. And that's where my dad kept all his chemical stuff. And there was a cabinet, and I guess my parents would just say, never, 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 never go there, never touch. And of course they just, back then there was no like child locks or any of that stuff. And so it was so scary. And they'd say there's boogeyman and this and that. And they'd like build it up. It's like I wouldn't even go near it, never mind wanting to touch anything in there. Like I was so scared of that basement. But anyway, that's not the story. The story being that basement started getting flooded and flooded and flooded. Okay, flooded and flooded. And it wasn't from rainwater. I think it was like sewage, which already is not good. Okay, but we were very poor. And so this water is getting higher and higher and higher and higher. And it flooded the whole basement here, okay? And of course, my mom is just equally as panicky as I am, is like looking at this thing, saying, we're going to be out on the streets. And of course, there's 5 children. And my dad is like working 10 jobs, and he can't afford anything else here. And this water is coming up. And then my dad is like can't do anything while the water's there. And it's like this water was coming, and it came up, okay, and it was like right at that hatch. Okay, and so it took, I don't know, it felt like years, but it probably wasn't, but at least a week, if not longer, for that water to settle back down, for them to see what the damage was, and the walls were all crumbly, and it was already crumbly as it was, so the foundation's all fucked, so where are we going to live? Anyway, very traumatic for a child to think. We're out in the streets, and however my mom reacted, okay, however my mom had reacted, it was like, like I carry that. And what if I at that moment had like a stress at school or something? It was all secondary. None of that mattered. I didn't care if I had a tummy ache, if I didn't eat, or whatever. What am I going to say? It's like, I'm hungry here. It's like, no, this water became the main focus. This water became the main focus here. So how dare I have any need, And so this rejection is like, we reject ourselves. We are knowing that there's a greater urgency, or that the parent or the caregiver has this greater attention to something. And meanwhile, it's like a little soul here who got shunned, who felt dismissed, who felt like whatever their needs were. And these were needs, this child needs affection, needs to be listened to, and whatever is going on in that moment, instead of internalizing it. And wherever it goes is internal, it's internal, and it sits there until we understand it. Okay. And so I'm just giving you that as an example of a point in time of something that was sort of traumatic. Okay. And whatever the result was for me. Okay. And so you're just, like any child, just going with that situation, circumstance, or parental behavior. And it's like feeling very, very, very much out of control here. And it's like the more you cooperate or adapt and shrink yourself or go with it, and you're not resisting it, it becomes an easier sort of situation. And so in your subconscious, and what's it's trying to tell you is a situation, circumstance here that maybe you did shape shift, maybe you did adapt and do whatever. It's like shape shifting to that situation. It might have told your internal system, okay, that when you dismiss self, or when your needs aren't met, or something like this, or when there is hysteria, or when there is someone acting out, or someone who's emotional or threatened or flying off the handle in some way, or that startles you, it takes you back energetically, whether you think about it or not. Probably not. It doesn't come to your mind. Oh, the flood in the basement, it reminds me of the time where my mom was panicky. No, it could. Okay, I'm just using that as an example. You'll have to apply it, but this is exactly what it is. It's like when whatever that emotion comes up. I don't know if it's punching holes in a wall. So maybe it's like when someone's just crying, it's fine. The minute someone throws something or punches a hole, that's the thing. That's that night. That's the thing my dad used to do. Okay, or maybe it was once two people are at it, or once there's conflict, I already see it escalating. Okay, and so the hysteria of it that's created the startle, it makes you deflect or default into this rejection of self. Okay, it's like my truth right now isn't as important, where I don't feel safe enough to communicate what I want. And it's not that you think you're not important, but it's something here about being heard, being heard even throughout that storm, that whatever you have to say in that moment, that you do have a truth here. You don't have to bend to that in which is out of alignment with whatever your truth is in that moment, even if it means you're going against or you're speaking something else that it might seem irrelevant or it doesn't support that person at that moment. You know what I'm saying? It's like, of course, we always want to be accommodating to others who are having spaz moments. We don't want to put salt in the wound, especially if it comes from ego. It's like, well, it's just my way. And then we keep going, like being the one-upper, like wanting to win the argument is like stubborn. Not that. That's not what I'm talking about. This truth is like holding a vibration of your truth without the nervous system defaulting back to putting yourself, in this, and now I'm at this person's mercy because this is the person that's punching holes, or this is the person that's having the breakdown, or this is the type of situation now where, and I think we can either react two ways. Okay, so this is how you'll know it's you. Either we try to control it more, so we get argumentative, right? Because it's like, I don't like this feeling of the flood in the basement. So it's like, I need to say it. They need to be heard. I need to, or we could automatically default like we did as we were a child. It's up to us how we do it. And so maybe because we have to do it as a child, I'm thinking we might lean in differently, we might lean in differently. It's like, now I need more control. Now I need to say things. Now I need to be heard even more. And it's like, we're pressing to be heard and we're fighting for the truth of this matter. And people are like, whoa, I was just talking about like the fridge having too much ice and you just went off, And I can relate with that whole thing. It's like, if someone doesn't hear me, I feel it invalidated, even if it's the smallest little thing. I'm like, whoa, like I heard you. It's like, not that important, Linda, let it go. It's like, no, it's important. Because to me, it's like being heard for who I am and what I have to say is important. I'm not going to be hungry again or whatever this thing is, You will not be silenced. Okay, but when others are sort of seeing this thing, it's like, it could seem like, if for other people, it's like, whoa, well, Linda's like arguing about the ice or arguing about this or like nitpicking about that or like really, and it's like, it's stemmed deeper than this, It's not me just trying to get more ice or my way or be right or whatever. And I'm not turning this about me. I just need you to apply it to your situation. It's like, I'm reacting in this way because it made me feel safer and more in control, because if I just let it go at this moment in time, it takes me right back to the point where I am out of the control. And so when we see beyond the illusion that there is no control and there's nothing to argue about, obviously, right? It's like, what's happening to me right now? What happens is your body goes into fight or flight, and it's reminded of a time where it was turbulent, reminded of a time where you were startled, reminded of a time where you felt like someone else had the control, or a circumstantial thing that was out of your control was going to leave you feeling like you were out on the outs of this thing, no matter what it was, and you were at the mercy of wherever this thing would go, even if it meant you felt not listened to or your needs weren't being met. And it's like, when you're an adult, or when you feel you have more control, that it's like, I will never be under the control of something else, or I will never let a situation, circumstance, or person, make me feel this way again, and we think we're healed because it's like, I recognize where I feel this and feel that. It's like, no, that's still not healed. That's still, the trauma is still trapped here. Okay, that's still trapped here. And so we need to rise above this, because that is where the confusion sort of lies. The confusion of what? Seeing beyond someone's reaction, someone's trigger, someone's emotional outburst, or a situation, circumstance that was an act of God, or however it happened. Okay, the parents did the best they knew at the time that they knew. And it was not a reflection, and we really have to sit with this. It was not a reflection of our self-worth. and there wasn't a tiered system. And even if we felt we were behind the flood or we weren't listened to or whatever, and I'm not diminishing this, okay? This was real and this is how we felt. It's not true that that was what's happening in the moment, because I know for a fact, if something happened to me and my parents at that time of the flood, I'd be the most important thing. And something was happening because, I mean, I was hungry or I was this, but it was just like, it was on the forefront there. It was what was happening as a situation and a circumstance. Okay. And so I internalized it, or I developed a thing of it, and so this hysteria that happened at that point in time, it created a memory here. Now there's another thing happening here. Okay. Beautiful angel with this life is speeding up, because I did ask spirits. I don't want to just see what's the trauma and what's it trying to tell you. It's like, yeah, what's it trying to tell you? Because what's happening then? Like what's going to happen here? Why this whole thing is happening? Okay. Or this thing. Okay. Let me go back because I didn't fully finish that thing. So this pick me is like, there's something within you. Okay. That, because just like I used the example of like having to prove myself. Okay. Now this doesn't mean I needed to be like, win arguments so much as it was pick me, like validate and see my truth here, because my biggest trauma, my biggest whatever that I was feeling was I was invalidated or not seen, or my needs were being silenced because of X, whatever the X was. And so now it's like, it's so sensitive when I'm like even slightly like dismissed or not seen, or my emotion isn't validated in some way, even if it seems crazy or chaotic. I get the trigger mode, because it's like, well, how dare you dismiss me? I don't care if I'm swinging from chandelier, if I'm all with my Portuguese hands and I'm getting all animated. It doesn't matter. See me for what I'm doing and saying. That's my truth, And it's like, whoa. It's like, okay, but it's very assertive. It's very forward movement, because it wants to have a voice. It needs a voice to that, and which is there. And once it's like, okay, I don't need to prove anything. I just need to know my own truth. I don't need anyone else to say, okay, I see your aggression or your point or you're swinging from a chandelier. Now you're okay. Now you're safe. Now I validate you. Now I can have dialogue with you. It's like, no, this isn't the right way to go about it. It's just know that you are understood. Okay. That you just need to embody your own truth. You just need to hold your own vibration of you knowing what is true for you, what your voice is here, without getting pulled into the hysteria of that emotion. Okay, because I feel like what I was saying here, life is speeding up, change, love, healing, and miracles, and these ships and this magician energy with the magical tools. All of this happens and is happening and is working through for your next step of movement and progression here, okay? With this Archangel Raphael, I feel like there is a state of ascension, enlightenment, you seeing, so you can work with the collective here. I feel there's something very healing, loving within your energy. You are creating shift and change, okay? You're going to be this magician who's able to create in the 3D world here, big changes, okay? And it feels like a very beautiful healing energy here, full of divine knowledge, because I do feel, like I said at the beginning of when I laid your cards down, there was a connection to sleep, okay? Or like the sleep time, but I feel like that's just the realms that happen outside of this 3D. And so you could be really tapped into the divine. You are a channel here that's able to channel divine energy, okay, to bring it here to the 3D world. And so working with your childhood and this sort of energy, whatever specific thing it is for you, okay, like we talked about here, is sort of the perfect vehicle, if you will, okay, vessel that spirit needs to utilize in order for you to deliver that in which you're called to deliver, okay? And so do not fear the forward movement. Do not fear the ascension. Do not fear, okay, now I say fear, it's like, oh, I'm so scared to move on. That's not what it is. The fear here looks like many different ways, because fear comes in different flavors. Okay, what I described to you about this is fear. Fear of not being understood, or fear that what I say isn't validated, or fear of me being dismissed again will put me in a position where I feel out of control or under someone else's sort of direction, or it's going to be their way, therefore I'm secondary, or therefore my needs don't matter, or therefore I got to be small again, or therefore, no, that's fear. That is the fear. It's like you're not secondary. You, if you internalize someone acting in any way as dismissal or denial of your truth, okay, if you're doing this, and you're wanting to validate self. It's like, validate me, hear what I'm saying, see me, and you wave this flag, and it's not getting reflected. It's like, because we're outwardly trying to prove it, to mirror it to us, and Spirit saying, no, you're not going to prove it out there, because some people will say, I see you, and some people will bend and say, yeah, you're right, and others will not even look at you, and others will try to argue with you. Nothing to do with you. Whoever reacts however they react, that's all about them reflecting back their own state. And so we realize this is just futile. This is just an internal thing that we're doing in order to heal something within us. And so if we get behind it or in front of it, we see that, hey, I just don't want to be dismissed, and I've been trying to prove it, or I've been trying to go about it in a way here, but I just need to validate self. I just need to hold my own truth. I just need to know that I'm not dismissing myself. And when we don't dismiss ourselves, or when we hold our own truth, regardless of what's being reflected to us, you see how he's looking up? It's like he's not looking to the left or to the right or trying to do anything except for hold strong in his truth, looking at the divine. It's like, now the divine knows you're holding your own. You know what's true. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to argue it. You don't need to shapeshift to get it, because I feel like we're like, okay, maybe I got to be like that then, or maybe I need to be more like that, or maybe I need to know. You don't got to do anything at all, okay, except for see through the illusion here that made you feel very uncomfortable, in order to move forward to this next phase of ascension, because you have a beautiful energy here, like I say, that is very healing. But the healing, beautiful love energy, okay, that creates miracles here to the collective, is when you embody this truth. When you embody this purity, your authentic self, you don't have to go saying it. You don't have to go proving it. You don't have to even have a career in it. Your energy vibration, even if you're just sitting there eating ham sandwiches, okay, whatever you're doing, that energy is what's raising the vibration of the collective. It's a beautiful healing energy to hear to the collective, to just be in your truth and hold your authentic truth. It is divine knowledge and divine truth. That's it. There's no arguing. There's no trying to prove. There's no feeling like you're out of control and someone else's it's like, well, I'm in someone else's, they're the ones dictating whether I'm valuable or whatever. And then I got to tiptoe and be like that, or say that, or do that, or be more loving, or be more quiet, or be more aggressive, assertive, more honest, more open. No, we don't got to do any of that stuff. We just got to know what our truth is here, because there's an inner truth about you here. And once you see it, you just connect to it, and that's it. Okay. In fact, it's less words. I feel there's less words. It's not saying anything. It doesn't need to prove anything. Okay. But the transcended mind, I feel like, well, with this 19, something about transcending the mind, like not hearing that voice that we heard when we were little, that we had to prove this ourselves, or that we had to do this or do that. Okay. And this is how you move beyond whatever your situation is, because we might be stuck, or we might still be dealing with some confusion here. So we're rising above. Okay, and when we're aligned with our own truth, the more we hold our own truth, the more flow we have, and the less resistance and the less suffering. Okay, we're not sort of navigating in some other, someone else's thing. We're not shapeshifting in someone else's timeline for who knows how long, because we could be there forever. Someone else's timeline, of who we think we have to be for that timeline. No. In your highest timeline, and the greatest and highest good for you, is you holding your vibration of truth. That's it. No need to prove and validate and seek. No need to feel like, like someone's approving of you, or validating or seeing you in a way that you want to be seen. Okay, because we could want whatever we want. We cannot control how others see us, and there'll always be haters, and there'll always be people who don't understand us. And people can only understand you to the level in which they can relate, period. Their internal world is all wonky. They can never relate to you or see you the way you want them to see you. That's a control. Okay, and of course we, like I said, want some form of control because it felt out of control. I can't say anything here. I can't do anything here to be seen or validated or listened to. And so now I need to cling to be seen, or cling to be validated, no, you don't need to cling. No need to cling. Okay, so let's see with the tarot. We'll close this out. Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. What is it that, it's almost like I feel here what's coming through with this card. It's like you don't want people to see a certain part of you. Okay, that's very valid. And you want them to see another part of you. And why we do this is because we have an internal dialogue that this equals bad, inappropriate, not the right time. And so we're projecting what this person or this situation wants to see of me and what they don't want to see of me. No, drop that. That is not being authentic to yourself. That's shape-shifting. Okay, because it's like, I knew when I was little, if I told my mom, hey, look at my stuffed animal, and she was like frantic about the basement flooding, she would rip into me. What are you talking about, stuffed animals, blah, 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 blah. If I was really like, into my stuffy and wanted to share it, thinking it was thing, I'd get ripped into two. Like, are you this inappropriate that you're talking about stuffy? This is the important thing. It probably gets, like slapped. Inappropriate. So I'll just be quiet here, and just like be quiet. And so shape-shifting to meet the need that we think we need to do or be. And therefore the secrets here is like, there's a part of me that is suppressed, the part of me that isn't coming online in order to appear in a certain way, because the way that I think I need to appear seems more acceptable. And now I reject the part of myself. Every time I do this, I reject the part of me. I'm doing it. This person isn't rejecting me. And so we feel like, whoa, they're not picking me fully, or they're not seeing me fully. It's like, no, because you're still suppressing that part of you that's still a part of you. And so what's happening in the subconscious is like, when that part and you do it, you tell it to shut up, or you tell it don't come online. You say you're inappropriate right now. You say no. You're the one rejecting it. So you reject self. And then what you experience is you think this person, however they're taking me, even if they're welcoming you and what you are showing, you feel they're still rejecting you, or you need more validation, because it's like they're not seeing the shadow. They're still not seeing the part that you silenced. They're still not seeing the great truth of who you are, because all of you isn't online. All of you needs to be online, and you need to show that stuffy. And if that person is saying, well, it's inappropriate, blah, 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 it's like, no, but at least I was true to myself, and this was the truth. The truth of whatever you need to be. You do not shape-shift for that situation and silence a part of you and only show certain parts that are acceptable, because I think you're already skewed here. And so you might do a lot of catering to be like this because the situation thinks, and we think we know. It's like, you don't know. You don't know. And if you think you know because you're socially able to read a room, or you have a lot of knowledge about psychology or how people engage, there's always that sort of part of you that's still selling yourself when you shape shift. It doesn't matter whether someone's going to approve of it or tell you to be quiet or whatever, No. The Pluto part needs to come out regardless. You're not going to cater to someone else. It's like that meme. What is it? I'm not going to silence myself or suppress myself for your own comfort. No, you don't need to comfort anyone with being who you're not. Okay, so let's see. Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 1. Okay, and then we'll close it out. What does pile 1 need to know? Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. Thank you so much, pile 1, for being here. I love you so much. And I appreciate you guys sharing your energy with me. There's the 4 cups. And I did see devil under there, so I am going to pull it. I'm going to put it over there, okay? And we'll pull one more for here. So we have Capricorn energy, and more Capricorn, and a Virgo, Taurus. But do you see this, right? This rejection, that's this. So that's the root of this thing, Will I be approved? Will I be approved for all of my shadow, even the dumb things, even the things that I feel might not be relevant or whatever, That's the thing we're breaking free from. Oh, little wee. Okay, yeah, there's death. Scorpio. Remember I said the Scorpio came in the last minute. Okay, that's the crux of the whole thing here. The shadowy part of self. Okay, so transformation. The King of Swords. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. There's the Temperance. Beautiful. Sagittarius. There's the Sun. Leo, Enlightenment. Look at all this freaking major arcana here. My goodness. Ace of Cups in reverse. Self-rejection. Remember what I said. It's like when I suppress that, when I don't let it come online, it's like I'm already rejecting myself. It's not that person or whatever, and I need to let it all be seen. Let your balls hang out, okay? 9 of Cups. Yeah. 6 of Swords. There you go. Okay, this is really just reaffirming the exact same thing. And then the 8 of Swords. So Spirit is talking about everything I said perfectly out here for those of you guys who only understand tarot. This is exactly what the oracles were saying here, okay? But we got more different flavors with the oracles. There's a mindset here of the trap. This is what's being transformed. We must see through the Pluto, and we must transmute that energy in order for there to be the transformation and the shift that's required to break free from the devil, the shadow, the trauma, the whatever that holds us back in life. What holds us back in life is our own rejection. Okay, we might feel rejected by others and need to validate, prove, and then it's like we sit there feeling like not seen, not heard, not validated, not appreciated. It's like, no, you just did it to yourself because you didn't let the shadow come out. And that's the thing that was actually holding you back. But that was just an internal mindset. Okay, and so this Ace of Cups is this Ace of Cups. So what's the Ace of Cups? Self-love, connecting to one's own self-worth. And so when we actually see the light, shine the light on this devil, okay, and see it truly as it is in God's universe, not through the eyes of trauma and shadow and shame and the experience, okay, because the subconscious is still carrying that. The true light is going to shine, and that's what's going to create the shift and this transmutation. Okay, when we are more ascended, we're more enlightened, we could see clearly, and what are we seeing? We're seeing our own value. We're seeing our own Pluto, our own shadow, our whole self. And we approve it as it is. I don't care if I talk stupid. I don't care if I bring up stuffies when someone else is needing something else, because someone else's needs is not my concern. Me, okay, now this isn't ego. I'm not talking about an egoic. So this is why it's a fine line here, because the ego will say, like I said, I want to argue about the ice and I want to be seen. And so it's like proving to be validated. And we need to know only an ego would argue. Only an ego would need some sort of validation. Okay, so when I say validation, we need to know when we're in this mode of an ego, but say, where is it really stemming from? The real stem here is that I need to validate myself. I need to be okay and not reject myself. And I don't need to prove it. I don't need to do anything except for hold the vibration of a truth. Now I'm seeing clearer. Now I see through my own ego. Now I'm happy. And the only thing that matters at the end of the day is your 9 cups. Because if you're not a 9 cup, you cannot create a 10 in this universe with relationship into the collective. If you're not a 9 cup, then forget about it. Okay. And so your only job is to maintain a 9 cup, period. End of story. Okay. This isn't a selfish 9 cup either. If I'm happy, that's it. Who cares about everyone else? No. But if I'm not happy, then I can't make anything else good. Okay, so the internal world must be emotionally okay. And the only way to do that is to welcome oneself fully and completely, the good, the bad, the ugly, as it is, shine the light, accept what's there, and then we create a beautiful 10 cups, because I think you're creating a 10 cup, but we need to work on the self-validation, self-acceptance, self-love, heal this beautiful thing, and then show up in the world completely ready to not get triggered, not have to prove oneself, not have to argue. Okay, we don't have to do any of this stuff. That's what you're going to build. And also, like I was telling you guys, was coming through was this beautiful thing that you're creating here. It was coming hand in hand. Okay, when I was laying the cards out, it's like the reason this all happened for you is that there's this new version of you that's emerging into the collective that's very successful, that's creating something here that you can build to. Okay, so it's very solid, it's very beautiful. You prove your own self-worth here. And this is what makes you successful. There is nothing that you're crutching on or leaning on or needing, okay, to create this beautiful future for you. That's exactly what's going to happen once you shine your light of awareness on what's really going on here. Okay, so there's a thought that we think we understand because we are connecting. Okay, I just want to connect the dots here. There is a truth. We are seeing something. Okay, but we need to realign or sort of truth here, because we need to know, is my sort of truth, which uses 80% truths, but 20% distortion? Okay, is this sort of truth actually an ego right now? Or is this sort of truth, what I'm saying and thinking and doing, actually aligned with a great truth? You can be that magician that understands this. And so it's easy to, when we have triggers or traumas, to want to argue, to prove a point, to say, pick me, or to silence ourselves, or to, again, cater to the room or the other person in order to, it's not about that person's comfort. And we might think it is. Well, I cater to you. I did this for your own good, or to approve, to accept you, or to approve you. It's like, no, you didn't. You did it because you wanted to accommodate so that you could be accepted. It had nothing to do with another person. And we could dress this up as the ego. I'm just loving. I'm just caring. I just want to be considerate of others. I just want to have compassion for others. It's like, no. You're doing this because you think if you do this, then you'll be approved, then you'll be seen, then you'll be liked more because you're more nice, you're more considerate, you're more quiet. It's like, no, all you do is you silence your little voice. No more. No more for someone else's comfort. Okay? The only person you're fooling when you do that is yourself. You're not doing that for anyone else. You're actually doing it for yourself. So there's an untruth here, a misalignment when we do it. It's like, no, here's the truth. Talking stick. This is exactly the truth. It's very clear. And it's not to be an ego. It's not to rub salt in anyone's wounds. It's not to hurt anyone else. And it's not to over talk of anyone else. It's just for you internally to see it clearly, who you are in your own truth and your own acceptance. It's all you need to do and hold that vibration. It doesn't even need words. Okay, this is what you're healing. And once that's in balance, your truth, okay, once you're in balance, you have peace here. You can regulate this thing. It's not going off into an argument or that I know, and then this is really my truth, and you better just accept it, or then be silent and stew because this person actually rejected me, and I'm thinking it's this person. It's like, no, this person didn't reject you. You already rejected yourself before you even got there. We have to balance this thing and see it for what it is. Nothing to do with another person at all. Okay? No matter what you're doing here, it's all about you. Okay? And so, yeah, this is what you're healing. This is what you're transforming. And once this transforms, you free yourself of these limiting ways of being and thinking, and the narrative that you hold and why you're doing it and how you're doing it. This is what moves you out of any situation here of 5 swords. Arguments with others, not being understood, feeling not seen or chosen, not validated, not seen in your beauty, not loved, not happy emotionally, because we're never emotionally happy when part of us needs to be in the dark. If part of us is in the dark, we could never reach a 9 cups because we're not fully accepted. So fully accept yourself, and others around you will. Okay? This is everything. Pile number 1, I love you guys so much. I'm sorry that this has happened. Okay, I really am sorry, but now we see it. And you are beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, you're a beautiful divine light being here. And so just connect to that. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye-bye. Gorgeous angel, pile number 2. You guys picked the amethyst. And I have pre-shuffled oracle cards. I've not looked at them. And I asked Spirit exactly for pile number 2, what is their subconscious wounding trying to tell them? Okay, so like I said in the intro, and I do suggest you listen to it, okay? This is a trigger warning only because if you're here and you're not prepared, it might be difficult to listen to the messaging, okay? So I'm not here to trigger anything unless you're wanting to be triggered in a way that will help you to move forward, heal, or see greater truths, okay? But if it's not your message, you're indifferent, it doesn't resonate, you just don't take the message. So you could sit through this card layout so that you can tap into your intuition, so you can confirm whether this is your pile, okay? Or you could go straight away to the channeled message. Although I don't want anyone wandering there thinking that it's their message unless they can connect to it intuitively, okay? So let's take a look. We have money, 17. Interesting. Interesting. So money could certainly be symbolic of pentacle, material, 3D, okay? Or it could definitely be money, like financial. We'll see how that plays in. Okay, but we do have some Cancer. No, I'm so sorry, not Cancer. Maybe, because I said it, okay? Nothing I say is ever not for a reason. But we have some Aquarius and Leo energy, okay? So we have enlightenment here. Wow, beautiful. And we have a ship. If some of you guys were called to pile 1, there could be something there, okay? Because there was an enlightenment in this ship, the sailboat. Now, it wasn't this card in particular, but same sort of energy I'm getting from this card. Okay, and then we have parent-child, 22, and family. Wow, so 22 is a master number. Okay, it is peacemaker, diplomacy, healthy energetic boundaries, and divinely guided relationships. That's what 22 is. Okay, but 22 is 4, which is structure, foundation, stability, planning. That's his family. Okay, we have a baby carriage. All right, and then we have confused. It's a whole bunch of clouds, scribbles. And then we have isolation. In solitude, discover your true self and connect deeper. And it says loneliness, solitude, and alienation. Some of you guys might have, I don't know why this is coming up, like a greenhouse. I don't know, or yeah, a greenhouse or something, like a plant, an aquarium, not an aquarium. What's it called? An atrium. I'm seeing an atrium. I'm also, I don't know, feeling like some sort of like imprisoned cellar type energy. It's just coming through. Okay, that's an interesting energy. And then we have the arts. Beautiful. Look at this guitar. So some of you guys might definitely play guitar. Take that as confirmation or be really tied to music. Okay, but with arts, that could definitely just be like really into the arts, painting, writing, singing, drama, acting, but I feel there's heavy with music here, and there's piano as well. Maybe you play both the piano and the guitar, okay, or like have an affinity for guitar, or just you really resonate through music. Music could run through your family line. It could be singers, artists, okay? That's coming through for a lot of you guys here. And then we have get your freak on. You deserve to relax, unwind your way, do you, reclaim your power, let loose untamed desires. 225, or the number 9. And so 22 comes through again, but also 9 is this isolation because that's the hermit energy. Feeling some Cancer, okay, which is the moon. Wow, moon energy, very strong here, and hermit. Some of you guys might use substances here. This looks like she's about to drop some acid. Okay, but it could be symbolic of something. Living on the edge. All right, let's see. So we have Manas. Okay, the self. Wow, that's that Virgo energy. The individual or the human race. Your attitude towards others and their attitudes towards you. Friends and enemies. Social order. Interesting. Very interesting. That's tied back to this family community. Okay, the dynamic between individuals with the Manas. And then we have the rune of Awaz, strength, reliability, dependability, trustworthiness, enlightenment coming through for a second time, endurance, defense, and protection. Wow. Okie dokie. Very interesting energy that pulls through already. So we have Jupiter in Scorpio with manipulation and the number 8. That is Jupiter, right? Yes. Okay, interesting. So 8 is all about movement, strength, attainment, change. Okay, it's about goals and leadership. So that's this 4 energy. But 8 is my number of Leo. That's ego and strength. Okay, which we were feeling here, strength. Interesting. So more Aquarius, more Leo energy. Manipulation. All right, and here we have Sun in Leo. Yes, fortune with the number 5. So this is this Jupiter energy as well. 5 is conflict, loss, change, rebuild. It's also Hierophant, which is this family type energy. Okay, and temperance. Yes, I see. Okay, temperance here. Very fascinating energy that's coming through this. I'm just like, wow. Taurus, Sagittarius. Okay, and then we have wavering with number 70 or 7. More Cancer energy. So Tower and Chariot energy with the 7. But 7s are all about faith, wisdom, reflection, understanding. That's that Hermit, but it's also that Hierophant. Okay, spirituality, intellect, personal growth, solitude, which we got with this sort of isolation in solitude. Okay. Wowzers. And then we have protection. And I think you got that with Manas. No, not Manas. I'm sorry. Which one's the protection? Yeah, that's Iwas. Protection, generosity, helper, love, listener, defender, fighting against injustice. 8 and 2, 89. Or the number 10. Okay, so 10 is completions, ends of cycle, transformation. This is Pluto. This is the shadow. Okay, it all is coming together now for me. All is coming together now for me. Okay. Integration growth level. And then we have nip tuck, self-maintenance, plastic surgery, beautifying yourself, new life. Who this? I don't know what that means. 224. Oh, look at that. We got 225 and 224. Even though I shuffle the stack, they're in sequence here, and there's like 260 cards in the stack here. Self-maintenance, plastic surgery, beautifying yourself, and new life. Who this? Number 8, another 8. 88's a master number. A higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. Which is blue eyeshadow. So some of you guys could have been born in the 80s, okay? Or like the late 70s, 80s with the blue eyeshadow I'm really getting here. Not that you wore blue eyeshadow, but that it's symbolic of that time period. Okay, so 79. Yeah, some of you guys might have been born in 79. That's my year. Okay, so take a look at this picture. It says dark night of the soul, 79 stress level, unsatisfaction, loss of carefreeness. Okay, look at this carefree, loss of carefreeness, despair in reality, severe pain, lack of interest, loss of pleasure, loss of enthusiasm, type 7 enthusiast thinking center between pleasure and pain. And look at the eyeshadow is kind of at all around the eyes. The eyes are sort of covered in this way. Yeah, it's covered in the same way. So that's symbolic for sure of something that I'll be channeling. Okay, but 7 is Cancer. And Tower energy that keeps coming through here. Okay, but green is the heart chakra. Dark night of the soul is definitely Tower energy for sure. Okay. Sorry, fascinating. Fascinating. So 77. Trust the fall and adventure that arises from deep wisdom, which is this hermit energy. Okay, trust of life and trust of self. So when we trust ourselves, do we need to do plastic surgery and any of this stuff? But the self-maintenance does make sense here. Okay, very interesting. So we have 43 or the number 7. Again, you guys get a lottery ticket, 777. You guys might be seeing a lot of 7s. Okay, so it says nomads, steppes of Mongolia. I don't know how to say that. I think it's steppes of Mongolia. And look at those mountains. Okay, but nomads sort of, they go from place to place to place. Okay, they don't really settle in any sort of way here, but they never really feel like they belong. Although mountains would be opposite. It is belonging. It is very solid. Now, it could be protecting oneself around, like creating a little community within the mountains to protect one's own space. Okay, because we have the family and the community, and so nomads could certainly be very community orientated, you know. That is very interesting. And I see all these clouds. Okay, and then we have thinker. Surrender negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. Okay. And then we also have this swan spirit. Time for a deep dive with the number 60. So deep dive would be this hermit energy. Okay. But 6 is the lover's energy here. So we have Gemini and we also have Capricorn. Now, pink is all about self-love. Swan is all about romance. Okay. For me, like soulmate. But there's only one swan here. And the pink is the self-love. So there's something about having to understand and love self. So one can be available maybe for relationship, opening oneself up to relationship. Okay, well, however relationship looks. Okay, so let me really tap into this thing, okay? You guys can skip ahead. Okay, pile number 2. This is such a fascinating energy. Remember, this could be your energy, someone around you. I'm just seeing energy here. So just apply it as you see fit, okay? And we are looking at the subconscious wounding, looking at a deep dive within ourselves, things that we might not connect to and understand how it's sort of impacting our now future, okay? Or why it's sort of doing what it is doing within us and manifesting in our world. That's essentially why I'm doing this sort of reading, okay? So there's lots in the card layouts that you can go back to just to confirm that this is your thing, okay? Such as being musically inclined or like really tying into the music field, the arts field, but specifically music here is one thing, okay? Family orientated, okay? Those are all things that are really coming through for this group. But let me channel, yeah, like free spirits type thing here, and even maybe one who lives on the edge or something like this, okay? And I said this person looked like they were taking a hit of acid. Okay, so, but it could just be symbolic of something. So let me really explain what's going on here, okay, or at least what the cards are showing. There is an authenticity within you that I think you're distorting, okay? Now, why am I saying this? I feel like there is a truth that we can feel and understand about ourselves, okay? And I think it is very unique, very different with this Aquarius energy. Okay, now we're all unique and different for sure, but there are certain individuals that are very different, you know, like really different, like eccentric and just very different. Okay, and so when we are different, it's like we don't really just belong or fit into society just normally, okay, because society will have some form of expectation, you know, or some form of an understanding of how we have to be. And so I feel like for this group, it's not someone who conforms. In fact, I feel this energy is one who does not want to conform at all, but it's actually the shadow part here. Okay, so it is someone who likes some form of structure in some way. Okay, but structure meaning what? Like certain things that are for sure's here. Okay, it could be the way they are loyal to family or what family represents or community or friends, you know, one or the other. Maybe it's not the family if they have a rough upbringing. It's like my friends or my community or what matters to me. And whatever what matters, the relationship, okay, my relationship to music or my community of people in the entertainment field that I partake in. It's whatever the thing that's important to you. And we get blinded. We get so blind by identifying with that as being, how do I word this? It's like that thing in which we identify with, whether it's the friend group or that family or that community of entertainers or my music or my art or whatever the thing is. Doesn't mean it's not important. It means it's not a this or that or the be all end all. And I feel like there's a Hierophant energy here, okay, that is needing to deconstruct through a tower. Now, I'm going to try to speak this in a different way if you don't understand what that means. That means I have a way that is actually destructive, regardless if it seems very important, because I'm not saying your music isn't important or your community or your family, of course, and your friends, of course, but it doesn't have to be to the point of where it's causing destruction in my other world or my other parts of my world, or where it is abandoning certain parts of myself, okay? Because there's certain parts of yourself here that is being created by upholding this this version of you that you are very identified with. Okay, you're so identified with this thing that you feel it's true, it's who you are, and you don't want to betray that. And this is of strength. Of course, we don't want to betray ourselves, ever. Who would want to betray ourselves? And this is kind of opposite from one in a way, because one was ready to sell themselves for the sake of peace in some capacity. Okay, and this is like, I will not betray myself. I will not sell myself. And so you think, how could this be bad? It's like, no, when it's distorted, why it is distorted here is because we create that identity as a strength, as a crutch, instead of allowing everything else to sort of be flowing and seen from us as well. And so we might have parts of ourselves that we were told was quirky or funny, or like funny as in weird or whatever, that we cannot show to the world. Okay, cannot feel not comfortable. Okay, because with this isolation, there's parts of self that still haven't been integrated or accepted about you. And it's like, I'd rather not deal with these parts of me because I was already told or understood, even if it didn't get told in words, that it was unacceptable socially to do this or to be like that. But instead of selling myself, you know, because I knew that was who I was, I just developed the things that were socially acceptable, like I don't know, playing in a band, music, family or friends, like these things are socially acceptable. And then writing all of me within that thing and creating that dependency, okay, because it is a dependency and it's interwoven in my identity, and that's my strength. And the other parts of me can just sort of non-exist, take a back seat. And it's like you cannot pick and choose which parts of you. Okay, now you can do it, but it's suppression. And what's creating here, though, is this with this wavering, okay, and this this 7-7, which is Tower, okay, and unsatisfaction. It feels like there's always going to be a part of us that is not fulfilled because it's always suppressed and not seen and not accepted. No matter how strong we feel about certain topics or how much accepted we are in that by that family group or that friend or that dynamic or that community or by the that art that we do because we find value in it. I find value in this thing, and so I feed it, and then it becomes my focus. And of course, it becomes important because it's symbolizing who I am. But it's not who you are, one, and it's not the totality of who you are, number two. Okay, and so it keeps you wavering and nomadic. And what's wavering and nomadic? It's like there is an inability to commit. Okay, and the commitment is to certain things that would bring you happiness because there's this I don't want to use fear so much as it is, but it's like this ability of your true self that feels like it's at war with being anything other than the true self here. Okay, like it's at war. It feels like it's losing its identity. It's like it would have to be fake, or it would have to with this plastic surgery, it would have to do something to itself. And it's like, no, I don't want to do anything to myself, you know. But it's like it's not still solid acceptance of the full self. And so there is a need to understand oneself deeper. Everything about oneself, even the quirky traits, even the oddities, even the stuff that wasn't accepted or approved. I'm odd like this. I'm not traditional like that, or I have these certain things. And it could mean that they are acceptable, but just how you were raised or whoever told you or whatever school or whatever upbringing or whatever environment you had, whatever happened as it happened, created this understanding you have. And it could just be, like I say, your family or your upbringing, you know, or where you grew up geographically or your tradition. It's like women don't do this or men don't do that or society, whatever. It feels like it's an upbringing, a tradition, or your community. Your community created a version of you that is authentic, by the way, because it's a part of your authenticity, but at the expense of suppressing parts of what is also you. And I don't think you're connected to the parts that is also you. And so there's this confusion here. Why is there confusion? Because it's like, I feel very strongly identified with the truth that is existing, that is me, but it's so intensely you, identified as you, at the expense of silencing parts of you that need to come online. And I say need to because we cannot suppress the truth of who we are. And so we might get very defensive. Okay, we have protection here. We have protection here. We have like the community, the mountain. So I feel like we shut people out. We don't let people see this part of us. And I don't think we even see this part, or we might not even know that we're shutting people out of this part of us because we haven't accepted and integrated this part of us as something that is. It needs to be validated, seen, and understood that it's also acceptable to be this way, that we have these parts of ourselves. Okay, because I feel with manipulation and this nip tuck, we're trying to make something that is actually inauthentic by trying to be authentic, if that makes any sense, okay? And I'll say that again. It's like I am forcing some way of being that reflects back to me something that feels more comfortable at the expense of the part of me that got shunned or that isn't fully integrated, that's also equally as valid and needs a voice. There's a true self here, an individual, okay? And so I feel like there is this part of yourself that has a difficult time engaging, Okay. I feel like it's a difficult time engaging. People might not understand you. Maybe you have a difficult time in relationships. Okay. So even though we saw this family thing, because like I said, there's like some form of like community structure, stability, or some form of something here. Okay. That's created this and that you commit to in some way or some fashion. Okay. But anything outside of the walls, it's like I'm on my own, or like I'm not understood, and it's kind of like this rebellious thing. And I think this energy creates a rebellion of sorts, where I feel like we do things to feel, but it could be things that are just like spontaneous. Because the more we suppress quirky parts of ourselves, or just parts, I say quirky, whatever, authentic parts of ourselves, parts that are true, the more we don't acknowledge it, the more it's like I'm going to numb myself, or like thrill seek, or like go have sexual escapades, or I don't know, like you get hooked on substances, or like act like a rebellious child, you know. And it's like this with the wavering, it feels like it's an unpredictableness that comes through. And the unpredictableness comes through here because it's like I feel I cannot belong, or I feel I will not be accepted. And then I try to ease myself with this unease that I am feeling. Okay, because I feel like there's an authentic self here that you are. There's a way. There's you rebelling by saying I am doing me, or this is who I am. And we lean into that like that's a part of our identity. But anytime we say this is who I am, we're identified with that. And we're not who our actions. We're not our behaviors. We're not. And we might be so tied to it, saying that that's who we are. And once we do this, it creates the challenge, because we start to really believe that we are that in which we're doing. And so if there is any more lower energies experienced, then we believe we are the shame, the fear, the guilt, especially when we do things here that maybe don't make us feel that great. It's like, no, we're not our actions. We're not our actions. We're not our behaviors. But it gives us a sense of purpose and identity to identify with that in which is acceptable. Okay. It's like, well, this is acceptable version of me. And so I'll say that this is me. It's like, no, it's all you. It's all you. You cannot manipulate, okay, and say this is how I am and this is who I am. It's like, no, you can't do that. You can just see the true self of who you are. Otherwise, you're still distorting reality and creating the conflict in which might surface here. And so I feel like there's a guarding. Okay, but I feel like for this group, there's also this, like, with social order, fighting against injustice. I feel like you have a very strong sense of justice. You might stand up for human rights, or have like certain causes, like I said, that you are committed to, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I feel like it's an unhealthy tipping of the scales when it's really the focus, because we're disarming ourselves in a way that doesn't allow us to truly accept parts of ourselves that are there. And so we use this as like a focus, an outward channel to double down in areas that make us feel like the areas we identify with, that make us feel like it outweighs that in which we're abandoning ourselves. Because there is an abandonment of self when we don't allow ourselves to accept certain parts of ourself here. Okay, and so we say, well, no, I don't abandon myself, because this person wouldn't say this. It's like, are you unsatisfied overall with the relationships and the amount of love that's flowing? Or the thoughts that come through? Do you have a negative self-speak about self? Because in this pile, I feel there is a negative self-speak when everything silences that comes through when we're sitting alone, when we're isolated, because I do feel this is when everything's gone, the distraction, the partying, the whatever. What's the thoughts that come through? And I do feel those are the thoughts we need to listen to, as and see that they're there and acknowledge them and say, wow, look at how I'm talking to myself. This is the part that's creating this unsatisfactory experience you're having, and this dissatisfaction in relationship, or this inability to bond, or to let people in, or to be accepted and approved on a deeper level. Because I feel like for this group, it seems still superficial. It really does, And even if it's like the love of music or the love of art or the love of this thing or the blah, 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 and it feels very real, and it's for the love of this injustice or this cause, it feels righteous and it feels authentic and it feels real. It's like, yes, okay, but there's more going on here on the surface, and it feels like it's not satisfied, it's not listened to, it's not connected to, it's isolated on its own, it doesn't feel like it's approved. And it's like, why does no one really love the true version of me, the quirky version of me, or the version of me that's like this or like that? And we think, I just am, I don't know. We make up the story, okay? We make up the story of how we think we are, and we're none of those things. And so I feel like with this nomad, it's like we don't stick around to find out. And that's how we protect ourselves. So this feels like an avoidant, or someone who doesn't allow anyone to see the true version of them that they can be when they're sort of sitting on their own. Because why? Because they have certain thoughts that are not true. And they're not true because we need to see through the illusion of them. Okay, we need to see through the illusion of them. We don't need to dress them up for anyone, because I feel like this person does not want to dress up for anyone, does not want to do plastic surgery, does not want to change, is very fixed in the way that they are. I'm very fixed. I don't want to be fake. I don't want to do it. It's like, no, it's not about being fake. It's not about manipulating yourself to be anything else, but we are manipulating ourselves by shedding away parts of ourselves and then saying that our own authenticity is pegged to this certain identity. I am X, whatever your X is, independent single self. I am family person that does this, the fixer-upper. I have this role to play, and that's my role, because I feel this person, whoever I'm reading, says this is the role, this is who I am. And that's what's getting in the way. No, you're more than the guitar player. You're more than just a family person here. You're more than just this need for freedom. You're more than just this self that says it wants to just do whatever, whenever, it wants to move around and just be free. It's like, yes, but you're more than that too. You're also someone who is deserving of love. You're also someone who can connect to self-love. You're also someone who can give love. You're also someone who can open up this heart space. And when we can do all these things, okay, when we can do all of these things, because all of these things are within us, without suppressing, without trying to tell ourselves that we can't or we aren't, because it got shunned or didn't get approved the way we did it when we were younger or when we were in X, whatever. We might have experienced when we tried to show this, it was shunned, it was laughed at, it was rejected, it wasn't understood, it was suppressed by us. Because it's like, whoa, I just tried to show love, or I tried to make friend, or I tried to make joke, or I tried to connect, or I tried to bond, or I tried to be, and it didn't work. But now, when I play guitar, everyone loves me. Everyone sees me. When I go hang out and have drinks, when I'm like living spontaneously, when I'm just this free bird, when I just do whatever, everyone loves it. At the expense of what? Unsatisfaction, loneliness. Because there's a truer narrative going on over here where we feel not approved of or accepted or fully loved for who we are. And it creates this schism, if you will, or this confusion. Why then do I feel this way if I am so authentic, if I am doing what it is that I feel to be true to me, And on the surface, we see this because we might think that we see it. I see the truth of who I am. I see it, but it's like, yes, but there's more to you that we're not seeing, and it creates this inner state of confusion that we don't fully know why it feels off, or why I feel unsatisfactory, or why it is that when I do sit alone, these things come to the surface that make me feel uneasy, or thoughts about myself that aren't necessarily true. Where's it coming from? Could be someone else told it, and now you believe it. And instead of just sitting to acknowledge these parts of self and see what does come through, I feel like we are always on the move, or always on the run, or always trying to numb it, or always trying to not be authentic to that part of ourself. And so we might seem very flaky to other people too, There's a flaky part of you. No matter how authentic you might seem, there's a flakiness here because you're flaking on a part of yourself that is quirky, or a part of yourself that is odd, or a part of yourself that it might be difficult to bond with or connect to. No, it's not difficult. Stop telling yourself that. As long as you believe it to be difficult, you shut people out and you don't want it to be seen. There's a need to know yourself deeper. And so I feel like there's a superficial happiness that comes to you. It feels very superficial, Friends, great. But that's superficial, really. Because at the end of the day, yes, we could have a good friend and get our fulfillment in that. But it doesn't scratch the deep itch. It's always an isolation here. There's always a deeper place. Now, of course, there's only one person who can do that, is you. You are the one that could connect to that deepest place. Because the superficialness here, no matter how many parties, no matter how many accolades, no matter how many friends or invites or drinks or bonding moments I have, it feels very superficial and numb because they're not seeing this truest part of me that wants to express itself, because I haven't given myself that self-love. I haven't accepted the fact that I need to say I have all of these needs, wants, and desires as well as. And then we get more balanced. And then the focus isn't so intense on that thing, that needs to protect, or that needs to be a nomad, or that needs to do the spontaneous thing to numb it out right away. And I feel like we might get very discouraged at the world, because we could have real periods of depression, isolation, a complete lack of interest, because inside it's like, it's not doing it anymore, or I just don't feel seen anymore. And it's like, yeah, because at a certain point, all of the superficiality becomes exhausting. It's not deep, rewarding, and fulfilling. So it's time to look at ourselves. And I think you're there, without trying to manipulate this, with a full acceptance of who I am, everything that I am, the good, the bad, and the ugly, without having to feel I need to block people out from seeing that. Okay, because love with this green heart chakra and this pink is I must learn to love these parts of myself, all of them, in order for me to be available to give and receive love in a healthy way here. I don't have to defend or prove my quirkiness. I don't have to argue why I am this way or what it is that I want and why. It's just allow myself to be how I am and who I am. Because your community and your people will flow to you when you're this true self, And I feel like you think you're a true self and you're this individual, It's yeah, you're an individual, but you're not allowing your full individuality to be tapped into and seen and experienced by yourself. And so you'll always feel removed, not seen, not approved, not appreciated in some way. Okay, and we have money and fortune here. So I don't know if there's some form of fame here, or it just, again, it might be some sort of superficial thing here. Okay, I don't know which it is here. And it could be I really like attention, or I really like to be, no matter how much attention you get, or no matter how much you are, I think there's a lot you put on how people see you. But it doesn't mean I'm going to people please. This just means I need the validation to make me feel good, or I need this thing, but it's it's a superficial thing. You don't need that thing. The only reason you're hitting that acid, the only reason you're hitting that club, or the only reason you're so heavily invested in that thing is because there's a desperation reaching out to be bonded to and connected to. There's a disconnection here. Because when you're alone, the true version of you is crying to be seen and loved by other, that feels full, not just on the surface of how you look, not your appearance, but look, your image, not what you put out there. And you're putting out a certain version of you. And that's a manipulation. It's I'll put out what the world needs to see of me, but the true me, no way, Jose. Why? Because I don't approve of it. I don't think it's approvable, or would be loved, or would be liked, or would be appreciated. Well, that's an untruth that you're believing. It's not true. It's fear talking. And we need to deconstruct this belief. Okay? Because people can't get in And you might say, I don't want anyone in to see this. It's like, well, you got to see it first, because this isn't authentic. This is self-abandonment. Okay, because I do feel like some of you guys might be still immature here when it comes to, okay, now I'm using the word immature, just meaning not fully developed. That's all I mean. There's a parent-child, and so you might create these dynamics, you know, these dynamics, these two-tier dynamics, because I feel like there's something about being flaky, like I said, you know, or just like this immaturity that comes through. So let's see. Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. What am I missing here that they're needing to know? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. I think you're at a precipice here of a choice, okay? You're being guided here to make a choice. The choice is to accept yourself, to bring something into balance, not to manipulate or to think that you're fake or that you'd be doing something here for the appeasement. It's like, no. Connect to yourself. Because I think superficiality for you, I don't think you like it. But I think this is exactly what you're doing. And so it's almost like you're engaged in a way that makes you not feel good. And it's like a catch-22 or like a loop. Because anyone would say, well, no, you know, pile 2 is definitely not superficial. However, pile 2 is acting in a superficial way. Because they're shutting out the part of themselves that they're saying isn't good enough or won't be approved or they don't want people to see or they keep people out. And so they're superficially just acting in a certain way in order to get food. Food, however, seen, approved. It's like, you know, like approved in that world, whatever that means. Okay, so let's see. Spirits, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. What am I missing here in regards to pile 2 and their subconscious wounding and what this is trying to tell them? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. Please protect me and the viewer as we channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. Thank you so much, pile 2, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. Alrighty, strength. So that's this, US. Okay, Leo. Yeah, look at the protection again. 9 wands. This 2, protection. Holding oneself back here. Let's keep going. 10 pentacles. There's that right on top of the family again. And this money, material world. World, material world. Just as I said, world. Okay, interesting. And then we have, the devil, Capricorn energy in reverse. That's this dropping acid. Okay, so it could be substance abuse or just dependency, but doesn't have to be. Unhealthy ways of thinking. Okay, 8 swords in the reverse. And then we have the 2 pentacle, which is this confusion. Okay, or this like need for balance. Balancing the part of self that is, with the part of self that we identify with. Okay, magician in reverse. Yeah, there's the moon, more confusion thing. Okay, page of pentacle, or page of wands, I'm sorry. And then the 2 of cups in reverse. Remember I said there's something about relationship that isn't working for you? Okay. This is going to be something here. Just give me a second. I need my drink. Pile number 2. Okay, like I always say, it's you or someone around you, whatever. The person I was reading here. Because what I was saying, okay, for these readings was what was going on subconsciously in the wound that's sort of manifesting out in your 3D world right now that could be creating suffering or a disconnect or some form of thing. What's happening in your everyday world and how it's showing up is a disconnect in relationship. Whether you see it or not, it's felt within you. And if you resonate with this pile, you'll know because within you, there's a deep dissatisfaction here and there's a negative mind speak that you're all too familiar with, that you might be thinking is true or you're believing and you're identifying with. You have a strong identification of a version of you, okay? That we need to undo that we're not anything once and for all, okay? We're not anything. We're not our behaviors. We're not this. We're not that. Okay, once we think that we are something, we create an ego identity. That's the pain, that's the suffering. So 1, we're nothing. We're none of our behaviors. We're just right here, right now. with none of our past, none of our story. Okay, so we can't use that as a crutch. If we do, know that it's just your own mind telling you an illusion of the devil in order for you to feel safe, because I think you want to feel safe. We've created this identity to feel safe. And everyone wants to feel safe, of course. And so we say, well, why wouldn't I want to feel safe? I want this identity because if I said to you, do you want truth or do you want illusion? You'd say, well, of course I want truth. Okay, well, here's this truth slapping you across the face. Truth is you don't need illusion. Even if your mind thinks it's safe, this is a big fat illusion. There's a version of you that's outside of this. Okay? Yes, you've created this version. Yes, it feels real. And it feels real to you because you're so identified with it. But what are you also identifying with? Being unhappy? Relationship isn't working. You're very held back, very protective and guarded. Okay, this isn't you. You're not just saying, well, I'm just a guarded person. I'm just very protective. I'm just very alone. I'm just a loner. I'm a misunderstood. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's not you. Okay? But you're also not this other version. You're none of those things. So what does that mean? You're just an outside person who welcomes everyone, who's not shy. No, I'm not saying you're that either. You're none of those things. You don't identify with any of those things. And what does that mean? Your true self, all of yourself comes to the surface. What part is not coming to the surface? The part that's able to connect in relationship in a healthy way. Now, this doesn't have to necessarily be romantic. Okay, because we're in relationship with everyone and everything. But I feel like there's a certain part of relationship that you haven't been able to dance with or connect with here because you feel misunderstood or not seen. And it's only because of your relationship with self first. You have to accept and love all of self here. I feel like there is holding oneself back here and identifying with an ego thing here. Okay, I feel like you have a misconception, and it creates this turbulency in your world. It's like there's two versions of you, and as long as you have these two versions, one that's acceptable that you identify with, no matter how identified you are, and the one that you also are, okay, I say are, you're none of those things, but that's also within you, that's true nature of you, that is being suppressed or not coming online, you'll forever feel rejected and suppressed and a need to protect. Until those two things merge and you see oneself, you'll be juggling these two aspects of yourself, feeling the confusion, not being able to commit, feeling a little bit up and down, feeling a little bit let down, and then sometimes it feels okay and feeling like it's out of control or you're out of control or you're unable to manage. I can't manage, and so we might say, I can't manage relationship or I can't manage and this other thing. It's like, you don't have to. There is no two things you got to balance or juggle. There's just one version. And that's the right here, right now version of all of what you are. Okay? And I feel for this group, there is this I don't know, if you're putting a lot of weight into family or what you can build or some form of a long-term thing here that's set in stone. And I don't know how this, I may have to pull some tarot here because for me, this is family and what we could build and the success we could build over a long period of time. Okay, and this is a successful conclusion. Some sort of family legacy. So it's I'm continuing the family legacy or something like this, where this is what success looks like. Success looks like whatever you feel you're doing here, And then we try to make it meet that version of the success, however the success is that we hold in our mind's eye. And it's unrealistic. And so maybe that's the thing. It's I hold a version of what this means to build some form of long-term legacy or some form of long-term family success thing here. And it's I never have it within me. Or I can't perform, or I can't measure up, or I am incapable of adding to this thing. No, negative self-speak. That is not a thing that even exists. You're just holding this vision in your eye because in the past it's solidified as a done deal. I said dung, yeah, shit deal. And maybe it's signed, sealed, and delivered. It's my mind already bought this hook, line, and sinker. This is what family looks like. This is what commitment looks like. This is what success looks like. This is who I have to be in order to be successful, or in order to be a family person, or in order to be that of society. Really? Are you sure about this? Okay. So I feel like there is with this magician in reverse, one, we can't manifest a beautiful, loving, giving and receiving flow state of relationship that totally approves of us if our us is not online. Two, this magician in reverse is some form of manipulation. And so we might be like a manipulative type energy here. Okay, even this, plastic surgery. It's like the version of us that we're putting out there is a manipulative energy. And when we do this outward face to the world, other people can pick it up as inauthentic, as a manipulator, as a self-serving person, as a flaky person, as someone who is uncommittable, as someone here who's wishy-washy, as someone here who's confused, as someone here who is incapable of knowing themselves because they're not standing in a greater truth that's deeper. And so the more we sense this on an internal level, because you might sense this already, the more it creates that feeling, ooh, maybe then, yeah, I really am, something's wrong with me or broken. And then the more we try to prove that other side of us, it creates even more of this divide. And we sort of prove that reality even more. I am unreliable. I am a manipulator. I am uncommittable. I am. It's like, no, you're not. You're not. You're creating this confusion. And so what Spirit's really talking about here is you have a free soul. I think independence means a lot to you. It means a lot to everyone to be free and independent. You're not free and independent when you're held back. You're not free and independent when you're on guard and protecting yourself. The real freedom comes from allowing yourself to be all of what you are. Animal instinct doesn't matter. Whatever comes forward, you know? And this doesn't mean just rage on everyone and just let your ego go rampant, but it does mean see yourself in all of your capacity without holding yourself back. This is true independence and freedom. This is true exploration. You're exploring the universe with your full self coming online here. But I feel there is actually a fear. There is a fear, a deep-rooted fear in the truth of who you think you are and that in which you're being called to do. And it feels like what's coming through is because you do put a lot of weight into freedom and independence and all this stuff, the more you engage the way you are engaging, thinking you're honoring that idea, the more you're going against that idea because you're actually not being free and independent when you suppress, when you have fear of actually having the freedom to be self, having the freedom to speak truths, having the freedom to not be guarded and protected, having the freedom to explore a relationship as the quirky self or as the self you think won't be approved or as the self you think will be laughed at or rejected or whatever, that you have to manipulate situations in order to be seen in a certain way. I have to be this way in order for this person to think that I am cool or that I am strong or that I'm in charge or that I'm the real deal or that I'm this or that I'm that. It's like, no, you don't got to prove anyone of anything. That's your fear. That's your non-acceptance of the full self. Okay. And so if you're relating with whatever, everything that I'm saying here, what are you being called to do here? You're being called to be acknowledged. Okay. Acknowledge that your understanding of yourself, no matter how identified you are, no matter how right you think you are, no matter how true it feels, like I'm living in my truth. This feels very strong to me. It's like, yes, I believe that. Okay. But it just the acceptance and the knowing that there is an untruth that you're living right now, that you're in a part of illusion that's been holding you back. And that's the part that is not coming online. And that's inauthentic. You're actually being inauthentic. You're not free. You're inauthentic. An authentic self does not hold back. An authentic self is free to do and show up however, without fear. Okay? And if someone doesn't approve of it or someone does the thing, that's the thing we're fearing. Oh, what if I'm rejected? Oh, what if I'm laughed at? Oh, what if I'm not good enough? Oh, what if I can't? No, those are all fears. Those are all fears that stem from a different place. And so this is why when we fully accept and see ourselves, then we can come out here and we don't have to guard and we don't have to protect. And then guess what happens? We magnetize and we draw towards us the right people that like that version of us. They accept us. They give and we receive. And then our core is full and satisfied. It's no longer a schism where I feel like the true version of me is never loved and appreciated and seen. No, it's not, because it's never online. They're always holding back. So again, like pile number one, the truth is when we feel emotionally fulfilled, We know it because we're fully satisfied. And that means my full self was online here. And when my full self is online and that's what's being seen, now I'm accepted at the core. And now I feel truly loved. But when I am not acting like my full self and I'm manipulating energy by appearing in a certain way, and that's the version that's showing up as me, and that's the part that gets approved or rejected, either which way. Even when it's approved, I'm still rejected because it's not the full me. So I still have a wall between me and that in which I want to flow with. So the only way to flow with other is to allow yourself to fully flow, not be held back and not be guarded, not manipulate, not put on one face. Okay, not put on one face so that you can be approved or so that your strength can only be highlighted. It's like, here's my strength. Here's the highlighted. Here, see this good thing of me. It's like, no, that's not how relationship works. The relationship works when the vulnerable parts of you is shown and seen. That's the more beautiful part of you. Love is loving those unique parts of you, those unique aspects that no one else can reproduce. You know, the deficiencies or the quirkiness or the whatever. And so when those things come online that are unique to you, because I feel like everything that's unique and the fingerprint of you, you don't put online. You hide it from the world. The only part that you do put out that's you is a very cookie cutter thing. No matter how rebellious you are, I say cookie cutter because it's like it's a flat version of you. You know, anyone can be a substance abuser. Anyone can party. Anyone can look good. Anybody can be the life of the party. Anyone can laugh. Anyone can say, I am a freedom fighter. Anyone can say any of this stuff. Who cares? Okay, but if you say, yeah, I don't know, whatever this thing is, you know, whatever your quirkiness is, whatever your individuality is here that you don't want people to see, I like to do this thing that people find weird. It's like, well, that's the thing I love. That's the thing that I can connect to. Now I love you, and I love everything of how you are, but not this version of you that you're putting out. No. Okay. And so I feel like you need to bond to that version of you and know that whoever does not accept this of you isn't somebody who is going to be in your world. They're going to fall away, because who loves you and who will respect you and who will be around you is someone who can intake this version of you and accept this version of you and embrace this version of you, no matter how heavy you think you are, or dark or depressing or boring or miserable or whatever. And it's like, I don't want to lose my independence or my quirkiness or my individuality. It's like, no, because here it's like, it's already lost. It's not shared with the world. It's like sitting in a cellar. It's like, let this individuality be seen. And the flow of the universe will allow you to flow here. You're not pegged to one way of being. And I think you don't want to be pegged to one way of being. You don't have to be, because we're always changing. We're always changing. Okay, so pile number 2, this is your reading. I don't know. I feel like there's something more here that I didn't touch on. What is with the 10 Pentacle and the world? Is there anything more here that I'm missing with the 10 Pentacle and the world? Let's see, 10 Pentacle. And the 3 of Wands in reverse and the Sun in reverse. And Leo energy. And then what's with this world? The King of Wands in reverse, and then, yeah, the 2 of Cups in reverse. You guys, at the end of the day, what this is talking about is we're not seeing clearly how to progress and how to move forward and how to build something solid in the 3D world. If we can't do this thing that I talked about, it won't build. Not because we're not good enough, not because we're so different and it's just me and how I am and I'm always different and I can't create like everyone else in society and blah, blah, blah. It's not to form to society, not to conform and not to be anything other than see a great truth. We got to see beyond our own ego. Otherwise, you're stunted here. You don't expand. You don't move. You're stuck in a shadow. You're stuck in fear of who you truly are. You must see who you truly are. You're not someone who cannot. No, there is no cannot. You can whatever. Okay, whatever you choose, though. It's not, you cannot, and now you got to fit into some sort of structure. It's like, you can, whatever it is that's right for you, but you got to connect to everything so that you know what is right for you, because you are going to build something. And now I feel you can't build the thing because you're not accepting and approving of the version that is you. And so it's stunted. It doesn't move beyond that, because it's like you're seeing it as a one way. It's like either I conform and do it that way, or I do my own way. But your own way is stuck. There's a third way. A third way to build what you say is your legacy, what you say is solid, what you say is going to be good for the long run. There is this truth for you, but you're not seeing it. You're not understanding it, because it's like you're fighting up against this other truth. It's like, no, society's trying to make me bend and form and do. It's like, okay, no one's trying to make you do this at all. You're making yourself kind of do this by fighting up against it. So you're stuck. This is getting in the way of these relationships. You and society, you and other, you being seen for who you truly are. And so there's always this two-tiered thing. It's you against the world, me against the world. But it's like what? It's just a lack of confidence. You're lacking the vision of how to build something. And so you might say, well, I don't want that, because it's easier to say, I don't want that. It's like, no one's saying build this vision, someone else's legacy. It's saying, what's your legacy? What can you build? You're stunted here because there's a lack of vision. You're not allowing yourself truly. And when you peel it back, it's because there's fear. A fear that you can actually build something here that's in line with you, that might require you to work with other. Now, does it mean it has to be that person's way? No, but we're here to share with other. We're here to be an open channel of flow. Everything is in relationship. We're not an island unto ourselves. We're not a vacuum that's secluded from the universe. We're not. No matter how much in our mind we think we're secluded and we're isolated and it's me against the world, or no one understands me and I'm a vacuum. No, guess what? Everything is in a relationship, and you could just pretend and have a wall, or you could be in dance with the universe, and blessings will flow and joy will flow, and you will move forward, and you will create a future that you want, that's beautiful, that's solid, that's successful for you, whatever that looks like. And I feel it's non-standard here, because I don't feel like this person is standard, and that's fine. Okay, the universe wants to provide to you full depth of happiness in relationship, exactly as you are, as unstandard as you are. But you have to trust in yourself to have that vision of what that is and go after it without the fear. And you will be this exploratory version, okay, which you might fear. Oh, I gotta step through the unknown. It's like, yes, but guess what you graduate to? This beautiful King of Wands, success, confidence, drawing in people who admire you, like true admiration, okay, but not the superficial thing that's just is fleeting here, because they're only seeing one version of your nip tuck, one face you're putting out there, but the true you is all hidden in the shadows. No one's gonna like this other version. It's like, no, just King of Wands will take a shit on the table, and it'll get applauded at, because wherever his audience is, whatever he is doing here is going to get applauded at, because it's felt, his community's around him, his people are around him. It's authentic, okay? But right now he's like, I don't want to do this other thing. No, well then don't do the other thing, but let your thing come out. Okay, and I feel there's a fear of being this novice, this exploration of the unknown, and this fear to, if I got to go here, it means it's going to make me have to go in an area I can't control or can't be. It's like, no, you're just exploring. Why would we give in to fear? Explore. Graduate, confidence, then you'll have your vision, then you build your thing, then you won't feel up and down and all turbulent and not knowing and stuck here. Okay, now I'm done. Pile number 2. I hope you enjoy this reading. I love you very much. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, gorgeous angel. Pile number 3. You guys picked the glass paperweight with the controlled air bubbles. And we're looking at, what is your subconscious wounding telling you? Okay, so it could be a heavier reading here. If you're not prepared, maybe come back when you are. Go listen to the intro for the trigger warning, okay, or the disclaimer. And the best way to sort of see if this is your pile is to sit through this card layout so you can develop your intuition. Okay, don't take any messages that aren't for you. If it doesn't resonate or beyond your level of consciousness, it's not your reading. So you can click straight away to the channeled message if you feel that you're already developed your intuition. But for those of us who want to sit throughout this thing, let us get into your reading. Okay, so we have nature with the number 14. So some Sagittarius and some Taurus energy coming through. Nature. All right, and then we have weak. Okay, and then we have Resistance. Go with the flow and be open to life's changes. Opposition, refusal, and denial. Okay. And we have the rune of Othello, and it says inherited property or possessions, a house, a home, what is truly important to one, group, order, group, and prosperity. And then we have flattery, and this is Venus in Gemini with the number 3. This card always comes out when I use this deck. It's interesting. Okay. And then we have endurance. Sun in Scorpio with the number 8. So we have some Leo here as well, the Scorpio. Endurance, interesting. And then we have quarrel. Mars in Cancer with the number 4. So we have some Aries and some Scorpio in Cancer. Wow. Okay. And then we have pushing them away with 63, or the number 9. So more Cancer energy. I'm not feeling a whole lot of Virgo, but 9 would be. But the Cancer is really pulled through here. The moon energy with pushing them away. Okay. And then we have excessiveness, 52 and 7. Yeah, more Cancer energy. Sin, ego level, excessiveness, greed for pleasure, debauchery, gluttony, insatiability, intemperance, stimulation, need. I just saw the temperance in reverse. Okay, so type 7, I'm going to sneeze. The enthusiast thinking center between pleasure and pain, excuse me. Yeah, and then the heart chakra here. And then we have the root chakra, 11 and 2. Self-listening, inner call, ego level, receiving versus giving, self-awareness, autonomy, self-compassion, valorization of self, relationship healing, and type 2, the helper, emotional center between giving and receiving, itchy back. Okay, so we have Pisces and Libra energy with the number 2. 11 is a master number, divine inspiration, synchronicity, and the encouragement to keep going. Wowzers. And then we have 18, growth level, the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. So 18 is 9, and that's that moon energy again. But look at this beautiful rainforest. Wow. So what is that type of an animal? Is that a cheetah with spots? No, not a cheetah. Looks like a leopard. Well, a leopard, I guess, is a cheetah, but doesn't look like, oh, could it be a cheetah? I don't know. Okay. See a waterfall. I could smell this image. Wow. Very fresh. Okay. And then we have surrender, denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can, okay, that would be this, okay? When we're not in acceptance of what is, we're in resistance. Okay, so accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying that difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. So here she has the blindfold. I am getting that Libra energy with the justice. Okay, but she's wearing white, which is the pure authentic self. So growth here. Okay, and then we have this bobcat, number 8. Okay, life is a mystery. So her eyes are closed. 8 is the number of movement and change, but that's the ego number for me. Strength. Okay, so Leo and Aquarius energy pulling through. 2 8s. 88's a master number. A higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. I don't know if I also said there's Taurus, Libra coming through this card as well. I don't think I did. So, and Gemini. Okay. And we have double agent. 129, pretends to work for one while working for another. Two-faced, untrustworthy, and hidden motives. 129, or the number 12. So Pisces, and that's Taurus, Libra energy again. Double agents. Double agents. Okay. And then we have coexist, learning to live together or deal with each other civilly for the sake of yourself and or others. 256. Okay, so that's 13 Scorpio energy and Aries energy. And then we have abundant minded. 111. Wow. 111. You might be seeing a lot of ones. Okay, believes resources, loves success or joy are not finite, mindset of plenty, unselfish, altruistic, and content. Beautiful. So this is the universe is ever abundant. There is no limitation. There is no lack. There's no scarcity. Okay. Interesting energy I'm feeling here. Okay, we have monk or nun. Wow. This is from the past life oracles to see how past life energies could be impacting our now. Existing self-doubt. 10. Feelings of inadequacy. Here's a mirror. Here's the white again, the white dress. Okay, the pure self. So you see two people here in an older age. And she's looking down here. Okay, 10 is that energy of transformation, which was that Scorpio ending, but it's also the sun energy. Leo, feelings of inadequacy. Something being mirrored here. Okay, and then we have release. So fall time, the leaves are falling, more Scorpio energy. Okay, so let me sit with this energy. You guys can skip ahead, okay? Okay, this is an interesting, very, very, very interesting pile here, okay? Hopefully we get something with the tarot too, because this feels like a mixed energy, and I don't know if it's two aspects of self, okay, or what you're sort of going through in your spiritual journey here, but this does feel like two people. This is exactly how this feels like, okay? Two people. And it definitely could be two aspects of yourself, okay? But it could be someone or your environment or a situation that mirrors back to you some parts of self. And what's the two parts of self that it reflects back to you? That you are in both polarities and that you can maintain both polarities, but we have to find a middle ground. At the end of the day, that's the big fat message here, you know? We are love, but we can also have periods where we experience the opposite of love, which is fear. And which do we choose? And how do we know the difference? Okay, so this is a very high level sort of conversation that's happening here. And I don't know how much about what you're experiencing so much is going to pull through. I do feel there's some of it, but it's all about the self that's experiencing this experience. Okay, and you can put yourself on either side of this, because I don't know if you're the one, you know, that's internalizing something you're seeing out there and which way, or if you're the one sort of holding up this mirror and you're on the other side. Okay, so sort of take that into context here. But what I really feel is happening here is this is a beautiful energy of you already, I feel, having done or in the process of doing a lot of work to connect to the truest part of yourself. Okay, once we remove what is not us, like I always talk about. Okay, and so what does this mean? This doesn't mean refusal or resistance. And when I say what is not us, like to say, let's say, for example, we don't want to believe that we're angry people, or we don't want to believe that we're violent, or we don't want to believe that we're sinful, or we don't want to believe that we're impatient, or we don't want to believe, like, of course, we don't want to believe this, but we are how we are, and we must see how we are. And this means when I see how I am fully, without judgment. Okay, blind justice came through when I was laying these cards out. When I see how I am fully, the impatient part, the part of me that's needy, clingy, or emotionally unregulated, or too much, or too little, or feel like I'm bad or violent, whatever your projection is of yourself, okay, see it without judgment. And when you see it, know for a fact, okay, because this is the law of polarity, that the opposite energy of that also exists within you. It is impossible for there to be the one without the other. Okay? And so if you're one, guaranteed you have the other polarity within you. Okay, and so it's our job to regulate and find this balance. Okay, now we don't have to do anything, of course, but in order to be centered in balance, in order for us to see beyond the veil, in order for us to let go of judgment, in order for us to be at peace with energy, we must see that we are the totality of everything. And it's always up to us at every moment to choose what side of the polarity. Do we want to swing on a pendulum? Do we want to keep choosing fear? Or do I want to keep being impatient? Or do I want to keep, no, you know what I mean? And we could be impatient because that exists within us, of course. And so I could do things in line with being impatient, of course. I could see my impatience and I could choose to see that I also have a side that is patient. And now, right now, how can I choose to support the patient side of me? But not without force. Okay, and so this is the art of not resisting what is. And when we see parts of ourselves we do not like, because culturally it's unacceptable, traditionally it's unacceptable, or for me, I make judgment about it. I've always carried a part of me that said this is unacceptable for whatever reason. I was brought up believing that that was not good, or that means I'm being stubborn, or I'm being too much, or I'm being too bossy, or I'm being too whatever that judgment is, okay? It is actually an untruth that's been planted in you, and we carry it, and this is how we navigate in the world now with these beliefs, and it creates the challenge and it creates the resistance, because when something happens that goes against it or is showing something else to us, our first reaction is to resist it, to make it what it's not, to prove it's something else, to prove our own understanding, our own narrative right. Because what the mind likes and the ego likes is if I believe something is true and I really identify with that truth, and suddenly the universe mirrors to me a person, a situation, or circumstance, something opposite. By the way, it exists because all opposites exist. That's the law of opposites, okay? It all exists. So when someone shows to me a truth, it's also a truth. I don't want to see it. And so I will fight it. I'll resist it. I'll try to convince it. I'll contort myself. I'll argue it. I'll do all sorts of things rather than just see it for what it is, that both truths can exist. Why do we do this? Because we want to prove our reality right. The mind is going to want to prove it right instead of allowing everything to be as it is, that there's the law of both polarities that can exist simultaneously, and find a middle ground. Accept what is. To accept what is feels out of control to the ego. I won't have control. I can't say how it goes. And so the ego wants to control it, contort it, and make its narrative in a way, because then it feels like it's actually in control or something will happen the way it wants. So it's either attached to an outcome, it feels more safe and secure, and so it does these things. Now, does it mean we're bad for doing that? No, it just means the observation and seeing, why am I resisting? Why is that narrative coming? That there's a more natural way. Okay, this is nature, but it's like nature is natural. There's no force. Okay, like the flowers don't struggle. You know, the birds don't struggle to eat. It's like nature provides. And there is death happening in the universe, and there's also births happening in the universe. Okay, there's shadow, there's light. There's everything encompassed in the universe. Everything. Okay, and so because everything is polarity and that duality does exist for the purpose of contrast, that doesn't mean we have to live in one polarity and one is right and one is wrong. This is bad and this is good. No, there's just finding the balanced middle ground between these two polarities in order to be at peace. And if we want to live incongruent with truth, because we don't want to be blind, we don't want to be in illusion and unconscious sleep, not seeing the great real truth for what it is. And the great real truth for what it is the universe's truth, not our truth. That's the ego. That's us pretending, and we can stay in that thinking that we're right, living in our head about it. Go ahead. No one's telling you anything. No one's telling you got to wake up. You could stay in that dream state all you want. But when you know you don't want it anymore, is because there's suffering in that world. there's suffering and dualistic sort of beliefs that I am this and I'm not that, and I have this and I won't have that, and if I have this then I can't have that, and it must be this, and the minute we think it must be and it should be and it has to be and it would be and that's the only way it can be, once we have all that, we create suffering. We're trying to manipulate, we're attached to a way it needs to be and how to be in order to soothe the ego. And that's not acceptance. Okay, so love here comes from an acceptance. The need to control comes from this root chakra block. And the root chakra has all of this need for control, a need to attach to outcome, a need to validate and have things go in a certain flow. But love is the opposite of this. Love accepts things as it is. It doesn't wish things to be different. It doesn't push away certain things. It doesn't force things to be any other way. It allows things to be as it is. Does this mean acceptance of abuse and violence? And this doesn't mean like accepting by acknowledging and saying this is okay with it hurting others and it being an acceptable thing. It's like, no, this is saying acknowledging that it exists, but seeing it as the first part. Acknowledging that it exists allows us to be in flow with it, how we respond with it. How would love engage with it? How do we dance with it? Because when we see the thing for what it truly is, we can make the right, and I say right, the heart knows what's right. Judgment calls in that moment. Now, we're not judging it, but judgment calls, discernment. I can say and act and be in that moment however it requires. That's true. It's not acting out of a story in its mind. And so when reality is happening in this present moment, I'm not seeing what I want it to be or trying to make it what it's not. I have the blindfold off. I see it for what it is. And so I can reply, respond, react, not speak, because I'm centered and I'm accepting and allowing what is in a way that allows me to engage. If I need to not engage, I don't engage. If I need to be open, I'm open. I don't resist and push away because I don't like it. It's bad. It's not good. Or it needs to be this. It needs to be more of that. No, it doesn't need to do anything. Now, you could do whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment is right to the heart, but your heart needs to be receptive to see the truth in order to engage. And I feel like for this pile, there's these two polarities, or this mirror that's being shown to you. And so you could be dealing with the opposite polarity here, okay? For some of you guys, I know you're on a twin flame journey, okay? There's something mirroring back to you, this opposite polarity, the masculine and the feminine, okay? But it's also the polarity within self. There's these two parts of yourself through this experience, because it doesn't matter here if there is another person, okay? Because the only experience you're going to have is the one of yourself. You can't jump into some other body, some other person's consciousness, okay? Even though there's only the one state of consciousness, but it's like you are only able to be in your own flow and see things the way you are seeing it. Nobody else can do anything here. And so do you want to be in line with a reality of truth for how things are happening in the real universe, or seeing it through the eyes of a distortion of what you think it needs to be, okay? So this is the real growth here. The growth is seeing reality as it is, accepting what is without forcing it, finding the middle ground between your masculine and your feminine here. Okay, because I feel like whatever you resist persists. The more quarrels means I'm trying to push something into a form that I think is better. Okay, but who's to say what's better? That's an egoic self that thinks it knows how something or someone should be. What's going to make it better? It's like, no, we don't know what's going to make it better here. Okay, so I feel a very spiritual group here who's on this journey of masculine and feminine mastery of balance. And we could be dealing with very unruly people, but the biggest unruly thing, okay, isn't that person or how they're behaving or what's happening in the 3D, even though it seems like it, okay, because through the ego and the 3D really sees that happening and thinks it's really this person, it's really the situation that's the drama or the torture or the cause of my suffering. No, guess what it is? It's the ego. The double agent is the ego. The double agent is your mind speak inside of you that says that this thing is the bad and that other thing is the good. That's the double agent. So you're the double agent within you. Now, you're not your ego, but you're the double agent when you listen to the voice of the ego. When you say, hey, the ego is telling me this, or there's a story or a narrative I'm believing right now, So I'm being a double agent on myself. I just played myself by believing this voice or this story or this narrative. Why? Why do I believe it? Why do I believe this is good or bad? Not judging it. Okay, why you believe it is because it was conditioned, programmed. You never questioned it. It became who you thought you were. You identified as it. You carry these beliefs or these judgments. And why this happens is because when we judge, when we judge in this manner, we project that out into the world. And so we're casting judgment out there because we cast it within us. So we must spot that double agent within in order for us not to project that judgment without. Okay, and so it's always as within, so without. Whatever you're doing on the inside is always reflected back to the outside world. When I judge internally, I'm judging externally. When I judge externally, I'm actually judging internally. So when you're seeing that person is bad, or that situation is toxic, or that person is narcissist, or that, it's like, and I'm not gaslighting you. I'm saying internally, we're creating that division. We're believing the double agent. We're casting the judgment. But really, we're judging ourselves within, saying, I'm not a narcissist. I'm not anyone who could be late. I'm not anyone who's shut out. I'm not anyone who would be removed. Guess what? Yes, you are. You might not be engaged in that way, but you're both things because you are both things. Like I said, we're love and we're fear. We could become someone who is patient. We could become someone impatient. We could also be someone toxic or untoxic, if that's even a thing. We're both things, and everyone is both things, period. And whether they're choosing to engage in a way is because it depends on the blindfold. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Meaning, when I think I'm the dream character, I act as if, and this is exactly what Jesus meant, because the double agent has the wheel. That person's essence and core does not. Just like when you're engaged casting judgment and doing this, you don't want to be judged. But of course, your way is the better way, the higher ground, or the right way. It's like, no, your way is not the right way or the better way or the whatever. It's just getting rid of the double agent. There is no two sides. And when you do this, guess what you see? Is that the whole universe is abundant. Like there is no limitation. There's no scarcity. There is no them and me. There's just polarity on both aspects. And there's you dancing with the middle ground of knowing how and seeing right through the veil of reality. Okay, this is a very high level pile here. And I think once you understand this concept, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Because your mission here, or whatever you're working through here, seeing beyond the veil of scarcity, lack, them versus me. This is all about unity consciousness. We are all one. The universe is ever abundance. There is no lack in the universe. There is no them versus me. There is no scarcity. And it's how do I coexist knowing that there's two sides to polarity and find a middle ground and peace here and shed what's not me and release what I need to, because sometimes we hang on to certain things and that's resistance. Hanging on is resistance. I'm going to hang on to this because it feels good or I think it's right, and I'm going to resist and shut out what I feel an aversion to. Resistance. There's no need to cling. There's no need to attach. There's no need to push away or resist. What is for you is meant for you. It does not weigh a thing. It's not heavy. It goes in flow. And when you're in flow state, because you remove the blindfold, your masculine, your feminine is at peace and at balance. You see yourselves in both polarity. And you're very conscious to choose in this moment. Am I reacting out of fear? Am I reacting out of love? What do I want to say or do? Is it just okay to be peaceful and quiet right here and see the present moment exactly as it is, without judgment, without internalizing it about me, without attaching an I narrative to it? It did this to me. It's creating this for me. Okay, the ego wants to be the whole center of attention. It's all about the ego. Even no matter what we say of the other person, I'm doing everything I can for that person. I'm being so forgiving and loving. I am over giving. I'm over loving. It's like, it's the eye of the ego still. It's the eye of the ego. And guess what that is? That's still selfishness. That's still a division. That's still self-focus. That's still a center of I that doesn't exist. It's the double agent disguising itself as a good over provider, over giver, over lover, or a nice person. Double agent, because there's an ulterior motive there that's actually dark. What's the darkness? It's creating a schism. It's creating duality. It's creating a scarcity. It's creating two sides. That's a double agent. Don't let it create two sides. There is no two. There's just you and that are one. You and that person are one. You and the universe are one. That is God's way. There is no division. There is no separation. There's just one. Okay? And when you see it, you love everything as you would yourself. You love your neighbor as yourself. You see God's beautiful universe. There is no resistance to what is. How could God's universe have anything in it that's bad? It can't. Okay? God does not have badness in it. God is all abundant and perfect. And so what does that mean? That means if God is all abundant and perfect, the only time I'm ever seeing lack, it's created from this double agent. And I start believing in that narrative instead of seeing through it. And so I create the scarcity and the lack. God isn't creating suffering and pain. No, the ego, the double agent, creates the lack and the scarcity. That's not existing. If you go into God's universe, all you see is beautiful abundance everywhere. God's light shines on everything equally. It's not selective. Okay? And so if you have challenges right now, because I do feel you do, with a person or just in your world right now of suffering, it's because the double agent is acting out and it's seeing someone else as a threat. Okay? That person is not seeing me, appreciating me, loving me, and I'm doing this, or whatever. There's like a standoff here between the masculine and the feminine, or this person and that person, the outer world and the inner world. There's a division, and there is no outer world and inner world. And so the self-listening becomes what? Becomes whatever I feel on the inside, whatever I know and understand to be true on the inside is what's happening on the outside. So excess, the polarity, if I'm on any side of the polarity, overgiving or withholding, is it neither are good. They're both equally as bad. Neither are bad or good. But the imbalance is the thing here. That's the double agent. And do not be in excessiveness. Do not be heavy in the light without accepting that there's darkness too. And this doesn't give you saying, oh, a little bit of ego is good, because people say a little bit of ego gives you identity. No, that's just the ego backdooring and trying to make a little thing saying, I am a lover, I am a this. You're none of those things. Ego is the double agent masquerading as something good or loving or caring. It's like, no, it's excessiveness. You're either on this side or that side, or you see both and you hold both. You don't need to be on one side or the other, because one side's like, you'd only tell yourself doing this is good. Who said? Society said. And so you try to be more like that with denying and suppressing this other part of you. This doesn't mean, okay, just be impatient or be egotistical or be arrogant or no, it's not saying that at all. It's saying know that is within you. Don't suppress it, meaning don't invalidate that it's there, or don't judge another for having it. If someone else is impatient, you're like, look how patient I am. Why are they? It's like, no, you are too. What you see out there is also in you. That's what they mean by that. What you see out there is also in you. Doesn't mean you're acting in that way. It means you're suppressing and you're denying that you have that within you. And you see it out there and it's driving you nuts, or it's making you even more in your polarity. And so here's an imbalance of polarity. Going at it. Meanwhile, looking away, looking at each other. How do we coexist? When we see the truth that we are one. When that mirror comes back to me, I don't internalize it. I don't create this blindfold effect. I don't lean more into the polarity, the one that's good, and hopefully the other person will see the light. No. So, Spirit, what am I missing here? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message. Thank you so much, pile number 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here. Thank you so much. What a fascinating reading, hey? You're like, no. I'm fascinated with the way these readings are coming out. Okay, so devil. Devil came out in all 3 piles. Why? Because the devil for me is always the shadow self. Okay, that's the double agent. That's the ego. Okay, but why it comes through as devil and not like the sun or the strength? Because the devil is what holds us back. The devil is the unhealthy chain. And as long as we have a dualistic, living in one polarity good and the other bad, and judging the other person, or making an opinion of which is right and which is wrong, and pushing something away and resisting what is, we'll always be held back. We'll always be playing the devil's game. And our job is not to uphold double agents. and continue this. Our job is to remove the blindfold, shine the light on this devil, see the abundance that's actually there. The devil is an illusion. Abundance is here. If you feel chained, stuck, oppressed, toxic situations, toxic people, quarrels, opposites, resistance, feel held back, feel pushed away, feel like pushing someone away, feel like resistance, whatever you're feeling. If it doesn't feel like it's in flow and center, accepting all that is, that means you're in devil. And this would be why. Okay, Capricorn energy, yeah, 3 of Wands. That's moving forward, expansion. So the expansion of what? The expansion of your consciousness, the expansion of your soul growth, allowing the 3D to move forward. How can your situation, because I'm getting situational here, how can your situation move forward? Acknowledging the devil. Then you can move forward, whatever forward means. Because right now I feel you feel stuck. Stuck to a person, place, or thing. And Spirit's saying, I want you to see the truth, my child. Don't resist, don't fight up against it. You will move forward, but you must see the devil for what it is, why you're actually stuck. You're on a beautiful journey here, a very natural journey of seeing the truth, that we are all one, that there is no scarcity, that all is abundant, but you must connect to unity consciousness, not this division, not this devilly way, not this double agent way, the ego's way, wanting you to see scarcity, wanting you to see threats. No. Okay, 2 of Wands, the decision's always yours. 8 of Pentacles in the reverse. 8 of Wands in the reverse. The Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. So 2 8s. 88's a master number, a higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. Well, so what does this mean? The more self-aware I am, I take the blindfold off. I understand my internal world, even though there's no internal external, but I understand myself. I see myself with this mirror for how it truly is without resistance. Full acceptance, remove the blindfold. Guess what happens? Now I see the world as it is because I have a higher calling. The higher calling means I got to see myself for who I am and what I am without judgment, truly, without blindfold, before I can make decisions to move forward. Otherwise, I'm stuck. This is your lesson. Okay, lesson. I say lesson. The universe. You might feel very stuck right now. You might be going through a karmic thing that feels very stuck. A situation that isn't progressing or isn't moving. Why isn't it moving, Spirit? Why is it stuck? How do I break free? How do I move forward? How do I get beyond this? It's not just pushing your way through it. That's resistance. It's not resisting what you don't like and keeping it at an arm's distance. That's resistance. This will be stuck still. You'll still feel devil. What is the answer to break free from this fucking thing? Break free from this thing that's stuck is non-resistance, seeing it for what it is and allowing it to flow. Ego hates that because it's out of control. But guess what? That's the truth. And it's happening whether you like it or not. But the universe says once you see it, then you've understood the lesson. Okay? And that takes consistent practice because this whole thing is wanting you to see the great truth. Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups in reverse, and then the 4 Pentacles, and the Star in reverse, Aquarius energy, and then Temperance in reverse, Sagittarius energy. This is both about healing. You're on a very healing journey here, healing. Okay, and this heals the collective, this concept of scarcity and them versus me, and there's duality out there, and there's division and polarity in an outside world, and it's separate from me, and I'm a vacuum, and I'm in my own internal world. No, that doesn't exist. We're healing this thing collectively, okay? So let me sit here with this energy. Yeah, so essentially Spirit is saying, there's something that you want, okay? Oops. Your vision, your wish, your destined future. You have a destined future here. We all have a destined future. I think you feel it. Something is very destined for you. Okay? The only way to ever align with that, your North Star, whatever specific to you, to get back on the wheel, to get it to flow, to achieve that thing that seems very stuck or far away, is to heal this thing and to find the middle ground. Everything I talked about. Both polarities, how do they coexist? The only way to coexist is to accept both sides as they are so that we can hold both polarities in one to make a beautiful understanding. The only way we could get in the way of this is by resisting. Resistance. I attach, I cling, I'm too held back, or I'm trying to force away, I'm trying to shut out away. Okay, this is all we know. And as long as we're in this energy, it's the energy we know, we don't allow things to flow. Okay? And so things want to flow here. There's a flowness here, an ability to engage This is life force energy. This is how we engage with the heart. And so your heart knows how to respond and react and flow. Okay. And it will know. It is an intuitive way of responding that is very discerning once the blindfold is off. Until then, the reaction and the response is based on a blindfold reaction of the past. A double agent is speaking through you, and so it withholds. It doesn't allow one's emotions to come out. It's keeping one's truth held. It's trying to gauge the situation. It isn't acting in a way, or it's firing off from thinking it's in one other world, and so it's saying other things, or it's like in a dance, responding and reacting in a certain way that isn't in line with present moment. It's going off doing its own thing. That's the double agent. Okay? And so we want our heart and our life force energy to be in line with the truth once the blindfold is off, so we can move past the situation that might feel very stuck, that the universe is trying to teach you or show you or heal you in order to get balanced. Okay? This might be a lesson of patience, or just holding two truths, or like non-judgment. It's the middle ground, essentially, of two polarities. Okay? And it's the masculine and feminine, like I said. Okay? And so our communication could be very stunted here too. I only say this, or I say that. It's like the communication that we're having and the action that we're having and taking right now is based on the understanding we have. And if the understanding is coming from the double agent and we don't even see it, because it's like sleuth-like in some way, that's what's creating the stagnation. Our job is to shine the light of awareness. And then we have true conscious choice. True conscious choice. Where do I want to put this effort? Do I want to put this effort into this argument or this conversation or, quarrel or whatever? Okay. I feel like this endurance is really this, I do feel you've been on this journey for some time. And I also feel like there's this wrestling. And we feel like, I'm on a journey, or I'm wrestling this thing, or I must fight to get there. It's like, no, that's a resistance. There is no fight here. You're already there. The more we try to do whatever we're trying to do, the more we have to endure. It's the catch-22. And as all things spiritual, like I always say, there's always a paradox, There's always a paradox. It's like the more we fight to get to the star, the further away it goes. The more we lean in and just relax, the more the star comes in. Paradoxically. So, the more we fight because we need to prove it, it's like, then I'll prove myself. The more I speak, the more I prove this thing, the more I'm understood. It's like the further away the understanding goes. That's how it happens, and it's like this for a reason. Then we feel more fucked up and more stuck. It's like, yes, because your life force energy is driven by the double agent. And all the universe is saying is see through that double agent. See the truth for what it is. Don't be in denial of truth. And in denial of truth sounds like this. I know my truth. This is this and this is that. That's a denial. Okay, that's a denial of truth, because the truth says all of these things could be true and are true. And I'm only seeing one aspect, and I'm running with that as it being the ultimate truth. And it might not be the ultimate truth. It's just one aspect of truth. One aspect of truth. I'm denying all other aspects, including this person, this situation, this thing, because I thought it was bad, or I thought it was doing something I didn't like, or I thought. No, well, that's just a thought. That's denial. That's resistance. That's pushing away the truth. And it's creating the stuckness. It's creating the very thing that you want. The dream's getting further away, or the goal, or the vision. It's getting unhealed here. Pushing it away. Because I don't think you want to push it away. I don't think you want to wrestle it. I don't think you want to quarrel it. I don't think you want that. And it's like either we're seeing eye to eye or we're seeing two separate things. It's like, no, we could just be in the middle, accepting what is and finding peace here. All right. Pile number 3. This is your reading, Aquarius and Sagittarius and Capricorn energy. I hope this made sense for you. I love you very much. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.